Oh. Is that working? It should be working. Why? Oh, I want. Where's the chat? No, that's not what I want. Also not what I want. No, I don't want to AirPlay it. I want to see the chat. Oh. Who's there? Oh, hello, it's Mitchell, my my one viewer, the person who I know. Obviously, do not expect you to stay if you do not want to, because, you know, you probably have other things to do. And I don't expect many people to be here, but that's okay. Well, the point is, it makes me hobby. And that is the point. That it makes me hobby and do things because people might be there, and apparently I just need that. I'm trying to work out how to see the chat on my iPad so I don't have to, like, crane my neck and look at my computer screen, because it's not set up for that. But when I open it on my iPad, it just shows the stream, which is fine. But I want to see the whole thing. No, I don't want to go to the YouTube channel of Miniatures Rundown. That's... Okay. Oh, 7 people watching. Oh my gosh, so many. Okay. Now you guys are on delay. There we go. Yes, we do have to start somewhere, and that is the point. We have to start somewhere, and there is no time like the present. And I am known, unfortunately, for threatening to do many things that I never get around to doing. And I've had this camera for ages, and I've been saying I'm going to stream for ages, and I hadn't gotten around to it yet, and no more! No longer! Shall I suffer the indignity of being the guy who makes promises and doesn't follow through? Now, you'll notice I do have an X on my screen. That is my targeting reticle. Okay, so now, so I can definitely see, alright, so I'm on a delay, obviously, for my iPad, that's fine. I'm just, you know what, I'm going to literally Google this. How to see YouTube stream chat. How to see YouTube live chat on Mooble. Tap the comments bar below the video. There's no comments bar below the... I hate you so much. There's no comments bar below the video. Do I not have it set up to do that? Am I a dolt? Don't answer that. No, chat's there. Oh my gosh, it's because I'm not a subscriber. I'm not logged into my YouTube. And I can't subscribe to myself. So hold on. I gotta go to my account. And then go to Miniatures Rundown. And then hit I am subscribed. Nope, that also didn't work. I don't know what is up with this. Maybe it needs to be in the app. Probably needs to be in the app. Yeah, I need to be in the app, because screw you. Alright. Okay. I'm going to post it. I'm live on places. I should do it on Blue Sky, too. Copy text. Go to the Blue Sky. Exclamation point. Live. Exclamation point. Alright. now let's start painting. I have a bunch of stuff I could paint, but right now I just grabbed this one mini I have. Because it's there. And it'll be a good chance to test what I'm doing. All right, so you have a moderator here. Ah, hello, Brenda. I wonder who that is. All right, I got a moderator and a co-host, so we're all good. I need a brush. There we go. All right, well, I'll paint this. I think she's supposed to be like an... Ooh, that quality's not great. Now, is that quality just bad on my iPad, or is it bad for you guys, too? It looks good on YouTube's end. It looks good on OBS's end. That might just be on my iPad. If the quality's bad on the iPad, I can handle that. Let me know if the volume juice is good or evil, or... Oh, no, sorry, not evil. Good or bad. All right, so this is clearly some kind of stewardess. Let me see. We'll go with something red. Dark red, maybe? Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay. Gotta keep it in frame. That's gonna take some practice. What colors do I want? I'm just gonna pick one randomly. We're gonna go with Army Painter Basilisk Red. Because it's a nice, quote-unquote, cool red, and it's a nice deep red. Probably won't be the red we end with. There we go. It's clear for us. Volume is good. Thank you. All right, so. Oh, there we go. All right. Now, hopefully the focus is good. I was gonna say, like, I should paint her like a stewardess I've seen. And I remember I haven't been on an airplane since... No, when I went to Arizona, which Brenda would know about, actually. But I don't remember what the stewardess looks like. At least what their outfit looks like. I don't think they wear the skirts anymore. Nowadays they all wear white shirts and black pants, which is probably better for a lot of reasons. But... if we're going with this kind of cool red skirt, you right-click on the OBS. Oh, on the Camera Box and OBS and hit Transform Rotate. It won't be upside down. It won't be upside down. No, okay. Camera Box in OBS. Hit. Camera Box. I don't see that. I see sources. Add source, enable preview. Say preview screenshot. Transform, I found it. Rotate 180 degrees. So now the problem is that's gonna mess with me a lot, but I'll get used to it. There we go. Okay. Well, there we go. Thank you, Cody. I appreciate that. Got it. Can I get away with doing a dark blue blazer on... Yeah, there we go. It took a second for OBS to process that. Or for YouTube to process that. Can I get away with a dark blue blazer against a cool red skirt? I don't think you can. I think if you're going to do a red skirt... Maybe I don't want to go with a red skirt. Maybe I want to go... I mean, that's more like a reddish purple. This is really... This is really betraying how little I know about clothing and fashion. And how much, as most nerds, I just, throw on a black t-shirt and jeans and call it a day. Red skirt. What goes with a red skirt? I could Google it. What goes with a red skirt. Black, white, or beige. Okay. Yeah, so if you're going to... Okay, so basically, if you're going red bottom, you need a neutral top. And if you're going for a bright red top... Now here's the problem is I do not want to paint a white jacket because that sounds like a nightmare. So what if I did the opposite? What color skirt goes with a blue top? Skipping the... Again, if... Yeah, okay, so it's basically you do a... Yeah, so it's neutral combined with... neutral combined with a color, which makes sense. Yep. Okay, there we go. All right. So, all right, we are abandoning the red skirt. I'll abandon the red skirt. Oh, I know what I'll do. Where's a beige? We'll do a red top. Wait, no. Red and beige makes you look like a red coat, which is funny, but not particularly what I'm going for. So we'll do... I've got an idea. We've got Dusty Skull here. Once again, make sure you're on camera. Thank you. Okay. That's the nice thing about painting. You can always just paint over it. What I should do is make Mitchell paint with me. Just threaten him into dual streaming. I wouldn't do that. That would be mean. Okay. So yeah, so when we have a nice... Now this is obviously, this is not the final color because it'll get washed and highlighted, but I'm going to put down a nice dark beige to start. And then I have a billion blues, but which one do I want to use? How about... That's a green blue. I want like a royal blue. Ooh, I know. Ensign blue. By the Army Painter. Oh, where'd it go? There we go. Ensign blue. We'll do that. Uh-oh. I dropped the cap. There, I found it. Okay. Blue, blue, blue. There we go. Mitchell is the... I won't actually make you, force you to stream. First off, I can't force you to do anything. Second off, it wouldn't be fun. I have to convince you to do it, just like we did with the channel in the first place. You know, I can't make you do it. We just gotta cajole you into doing it, and then eventually you'll like it, right? Okay, yeah, look at that. I like that blue. I've never used this blue. It's actually a historical color, apparently. Ensign blue. I don't know. It's from the Army Painter historical set. However, I've combined all my Army Painter historical sets into one rack, so I don't know whether this was the British, German, or American. I'm gonna guess it was the British one. Just guessing. Someone else can correct me if someone else in the chat who knows these things knows these things. All right. Here we go. I'm blue, blue. Okay, no. Now, I do expect you all to be hobbying along at home. There will be a quiz. There will not be a quiz. How do you even quiz somebody on painting? I mean, I guess you would give them something to paint and make them paint it, but... I wonder if there's any classes that do that. Like, you know, because there's hobby classes at conventions and stuff. I've taken them. But I wonder if any of them are like, all right, to quote-unquote, like, get your certification, you have to now apply the principles I've taught you. Something tells me that's not a thing. Oh, I gotta remind myself. Cody, I don't know if you're still there. If you're not, don't worry about it. Or rather, I'll remind you later. I gotta figure out how to access that free music library I know we have access to, so I can have some background tunes. Both for you guys and also for me, because without them, I'm just gonna ramble a lot. which is probably not a bad thing because you do want to, you know, engage with your audience. But at the same time, I can't talk all the time. I mean, I can, but okay. All right. Sound off in the comments. What color is her hair going to be? Is she going to be a blonde, a brunette, a redhead, black hair? I mean, well, okay. I probably won't do black hair because it would contrast, or it would not contrast enough with the blazer. So I don't think I'll do black. Could do brown. Could do red, although I am not any good at painting red hair. Actually, not really good at painting hair at all, which is all the more reason to do it, because you don't get good at painting hair by not painting hair. That being said, it'd be easier to paint red hair, or ginger, I guess, than it would to paint blonde hair, which I literally do not know how to paint blonde hair without it just looking like I'm painting yellow. So, which, I mean, maybe that's a reason I should do it. And the blonde would contrast very nicely with her dark blazer, which will not be this dark in the end, because we're just putting down the base coat, which is dark. Yeah, okay. Speaking of which, let's put down another... Well, that's not quite dry yet. One thing I've learned that I have a problem with is rushing, and then the paint looks dry here, but it's not actually dry. And if I put another airbrush on that, it's going to pick up that paint. Cody, okay. Set with Storyblocks. Also use Spotify. You can add that as an audio source and look up DMCA free music. Okay. Oh, okay. I might do that. I do have Spotify downloaded. I don't give them money anymore. As Mitchell knows on when I made him handle audio on our road trip. But I might need to move my X, because my X is up here. Oh yeah, it looks like my camera moved. Yep. Oh. Yep. Oh, come on. Sorry. I'd recommend the latter. Storyblocks is cheap for music, unless you like corporate elevator music. I gotcha, yeah. And I am a music snob. I blame my former major. So, yeah, Spotify would be better. And I can just put on, like, there's a lot of classical or other music. Yeah, sorry for the motion sickness from that camera movement. Okay, anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, I need to put down other paints instead of on her blazer, because if I put on her blazer... Now, does she have a shirt? Is that what she has on there underneath there? Yeah, so that's got to be white. So what we're actually going to do is I'm not going to put white under there. I'm going to put this beige to start. It'll work up to white eventually. But for right now, I'm going to put a dab of beige in there. And yes, it is very messy, but that's fine. That is why... And yeah, if I have Spotify here, that's pretty easy to set up. You just set that up as an audio source, and you hit that. Now the question is, if it's DMCA free music, I'm assuming they're still going to put ads on there, which means we'll have to either listen to the ads or we'll have to buy Spotify Premium, which I don't want to do. Now, the question is, do I want the skirt to go up to white? Because I could. Well, let's paint her skin. We're going to start with topaz skin, which is a nice dark skin color. There we go. There we go. I have no idea where this model is from, by the way. I think it's a Bombshell Minis model, but I don't actually know. It will be very appropriately named, I suppose. Hold on. Is that her legs or is she wearing stockings? You know, I could probably paint them either way. I'm going to go with skin, just because I don't even know how you would paint Oh god, I don't know how you would paint semi-transparent nylons, which I'm sure someone has managed to do it. I don't know how. Yes, unfortunately. Okay, yeah, so they'd still play ads. All right. I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll just sing. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna get viewers, not drive them away. Oh, I know. I'll record my own musical playlist. Solo viola hits. Yeah. Which either one of two things is going to happen. I'm going to play so badly that the DMCA bots won't catch it, or I'll play so well that they'll DMCA me because they'll think it's some other one recording. And given how out of practice I am, I think I know which one would actually happen. It's not a self-insult. Non-oil over skin tone? Is that a suggestion, sir? Because that's a weird suggestion, sir. Oops. Alright. Gotta trust the process, because right now everything looks pretty bad. Alright. For more seriously, what I use for my skin tone is the same thing I use for all light colored things, which is the good old Sonic Tonic. Oh, for stockings. Oh, okay. Yeah, I could kind of see that. Man, you'd have to. I don't know. I'm gonna let you try that. I'm not brave enough. Sorry. I'm not saying it won't work. I'm just saying I'm not gonna try it right now. Although, I mean, this mini isn't for anything, so like. I was going to paint some Halo Flashpoint because I primed that, but A, it hasn't really sat long enough, so it still stinks. And B, I figure I will save... Oops, sorry, I'm off screen. I will save the actual like things people would care about watching painting for when I have viewers who are not my direct friends. No offense to all of you, of course. But... well, speaking of which, I think it was Cody who mentioned this. I did look up the Master Chief Collection on Steam, and it's only $40. So I'm not going to buy it right now, because I'm broke after Adepticon, but I did add it to my wish list, so maybe I will play a Halo eventually. Alright. So, now you can kind of see the baseline of what we're going to do with this mini, right? We've got skin, Caucasian skin. The only thing left, I mean, her hair is like already kind of brown. I could leave it brown. I kind of want to play with it, but I'm not going to play with the hair until after I get all the skin tones down. Of course, I'm being very messy, which means I will have to clean it up, but that's fine. Let's start by cleaning up the jacket. Kind of wish I'd gotten my wet palette out, but I was too lazy to do that. So we're going to not do that today, because I'm lazy. It's funny there, I got a little bit of, I don't know if you could see that on the camera, but I got a little bit of not quite dry skin paint on the tip of my blue. Alright, so get another layer of blue down. Is she wearing a belt? Yes, she is wearing a belt. Okay. So we will do that belt after. Here's a question for Brenda particularly, because I don't know women's fashion, but does women's fashions have the same rule on belt matches the shoes that men's fashion is supposed to? Or I guess Cody or Mitchell could answer that, because you do have Ys as well. I don't. That sounded weird for me to say it that way. Okay. I'm guessing it would have the same rule of belts match boot. Cody says, or yeah, I finally picked up the Game Envy palette at Adepticon. That is the wet palette I use. We've come such a long way on wet palettes in the past like 5 or 6 years, because you know, for a while, like the only people who made a wet palette was the Masterson Stay Wet, and those were not. The palette paper sucked because it wasn't based good for mini paints or acrylic paints. It was for heavy paints because that's what they were designed for. And Masterson didn't really have any interest in making stuff for minis. Nowadays, everybody makes a wet palette. Army Painter makes one. Of course, Game Envy is the one I use. You can still use a Masterson one. You just use parchment paper, as everybody figured out. Or you can just make your own. I did not have good luck making my own. I know that like Tabletop Minions has kind of on the drum of just like make your own darn wet palette. And I know other people like that. I could not make that work. The one I made sucked. The one I bought worked great. So, well, I'm all for do-it-yourselfing. But sometimes someone just does a better job than you can do, and money can be exchanged for goods and services. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember if you actually used wet palettes or not for that, Cody. I am on and off user of wet palettes. I really should use it more. Again, I'm lazy. You do have to set it up. All right, so got her blazer. Now I'm going to swap to a lighter color of the beige. Although I am going to, while I'm here, I'm gonna I free all my Army Painter paints. I have these little swatches at the top that I printed and primed, but I haven't painted all of them. So what I figured I'd do is, as I get these paints out for the first time, you got a little paint on that paint handle. Hello, Havoc Matte. Paint on the handle. Little paint on the handle. Well, like this. Blah, blah, blah. I do not treat my paint handles well. This is the old Games Workshop one, which I like better than the new Games Workshop one. And I have not tried the new Games Workshop one, which is even less expensive. It is only $6.50, which for a Games Workshop product is a steal. However, it only holds things on with tension, and if I'm going to do that, I'll just use Blu Tack. Most of my paint handles are, well, currently they're covered in spray paint because I just use them, but they are wooden handles from Jolly Lark. However, I also live above a wood shop because my grandfather knows woodworking, and that's where I live, is above his woodworking shop. So, like, I could just use his machines to cut my own, and that's what I did. All right. Okay, let's see. So yeah, anyway, as I grab my Army Painters, I'm going to put on a layer of the actual paint color before I put the paints away. And I figure that way, over time, I will get all of my paint swatches done. And if I don't ever swatch a paint, that means I probably need to put it away because I'm not ever using it. All right, now for a lighter khaki, you know, let's stay in the realm of the historicals. Let's get some Army Painter Light Battle Dress. This, I know, is from the British historical set because the Brits call theirs battle dress. Also, I recognize this dark battle dress as British battle dress, and because the American ones are called drabs, and the German ones are called, you know, Feldgrau, which literally just means field gray. And of course, none of them are gray; they're all greens, gray greens, because, you know, Germans. So let's put on some light battle dress. I guess maybe we're just kind of turning her into like a British. Oh, that. Okay, that is a lot like the color I had on there previously. So I think we need to take another step up because that functionally, probably on the camera especially, does not change what it looks like. Well, we'll go ahead and put on a layer because get some more water on there. I can see the streaks pretty badly. We'll put on a layer because we've got it out. One of the things I really am liking about the Fanatic paints, they're not like Magic, they're not self-leveling or whatever, but they are very forgiving with how much paint you can put on there and how you can, and getting a smooth coat even if you're not perfect at thinning your paints, which you could argue is not a good thing because, like, you know, learn to thin your darn paints. But again, I'm lazy. This is in contrast to my other favorite paints, the Monument Pro Acryls, which I really like, but I would call them unforgiving in a lot of ways because they are very liquidy already. Okay. Well, okay, so that light battle dress, yeah, first, that doesn't change much, does it? All right. So, do I have another even lighter beige? I mean, we could just leave that as the beige, which probably wouldn't actually be a bad idea. Yeah, okay, we'll think about it. Let's do another lap on the skin. I'm going to get a smaller brush for that this time. Doodle-doodle-doodle-doodle-doop. Oops, I spilled some water on my paint. Oh well. You can always add more paint. This might be too thin. No. Is that still in camera focus? It is. It is still in camera focus. So I don't know if Thursday night will be the night I always want to stream, but I do want to make a habit of it. Again, if for no other reason than it makes me paint and keeps my ADHD in check, because the only thing that is more powerful than that is the power of shame from humans. Because if I'm on camera, I need to be painting, because I can't just go off and start tinkering with my printer right now, because you'd all be bored and like looking at an empty screen. So, thus the streaming. This is more for my benefit. Haha. I didn't even monetize the stream. Mostly because I was like, well, let's not. I have no idea how YouTube does stream ads. I've never, spoiler, I've never watched YouTube stream ads. And I can say for Twitch, if ads are too ubiquitous or too intrusive, I just don't watch those Twitch streams, which is why I don't watch a lot of Twitch anymore. Because, man, it's hard to find new people on Twitch because you click on a new person and it's like, okay, hey, I'll watch this person. Here's an ad. And here's another ad. And here's another ad. And wow, that's a lot of ads. Like, you click on a new person and there's like 3, 4, 5 ads, and that's not great for making me stick around and discover somebody new. Because especially when it's the same ad 3 times in a row, which it feels like it usually is. Yeah, maybe that's just me. Oops. I splotched some skin on her butt. I guess it's more like her waist. That's okay. This is why you generally paint the skin first. The problem is, with a single figure like this, if I'm painting the skin and then I want to go back and do another layer of skin, I have to wait for it to dry, which I could solve by picking up another mini to paint. Which I might do, actually. I have, over here, some really fun things that I printed or got at Adepticon or what have you. Get up in there. But yeah, I think Thursdays will be when I do some streaming. I might do a second day later if I enjoy it a lot. Mostly because Thursdays is a night we can't do game night because our local game night, our game store has is a Magic Commander on Thursday nights, aka don't go in there. It's so many people. I mean, you can. I think Cody and I are actually playing our Trench Crusade game next Thursday, but I try to avoid playing on Thursdays. And also, I don't think I'm counter-programming anybody. Not worried about counter-programming other people for you to watch, because I'm not competing with anybody at this point. I'm worried about counter-programming somebody that I want to watch. Like, I'm not doing Mondays, because I'm busy watching the Tabletop Minion stream on Mondays, so, Alright, we're going to let her dry. And grab... I do have the other, more... I mean, there's no appropriate way to say what that looks like. Alright, I've got a wizard here. Oh, wow, that wizard is... okay, I've got a different wizard here. Got a wizard. I've had this wizard mini for ages. This is one of the old Imperial Guard metal. That is metal. It's like, I think, the Astropath or something like that. You used to be able to put them in your guard units and they'd give you a ward save. I think they're still usable in-game, although they might not be with this codex. I haven't checked, honestly. So let's do that. So, What color do we want you to be? Well, normally, it's kind of telling my default would be to go to blue, but I don't want to do blue because she's blue. And I already did one blue mini today. Could make him red. Him or her, I can't tell, honestly, what their gender is. Could go red. Let me see. Could go purple. What have we got over in my stash? I've got... Oh, you know what I should try? I should try the new P3 paints I've got. So I got the P3 paint starter set at Adepticon, and I have not cracked them yet. I was going to save them and do a thing where it's like, oh, hey, you know, I'm painting my new War Machine with P3, which is all fine and dandy with the small problem of none of these are the colors of my faction that I picked for War Machine, which is very purple. Although I will be using the metal for the War Machine because it's, you know. And let me see, we've got, how about we do that Ordic Olive? Now, here's the thing. If I put this directly over here, is it going to cover? I might need to build up to it. And there's not any other build-up colors in this P3 set. I don't know what this is. This is Grimdark Series Adepticon Fortunate from Avante Art, which is the same bottles. No, that's it. Okay, Avante Art, which is some weird, like, I don't know what's up with Avante Art. No, these are the same bottles as the Ionic series, which I also have. Yeah. Like, these two paints came out at, like, basically the same time. And these are now called Ionics. They're atoms on here. Oops, I'm not on camera at all. I'm sorry. There we go. So I've got the atoms. I don't know what that is, but it was in my Adepticon swag bag. Not used those at all yet. All right. Shaky, shaky, shaky. Let's put this down. This Ordic Olive. Using a P3 paint on a Warhammer miniature, I'm going to jail. Paint jail, probably. Okay, let's see how this covers on the robe. Ooh. I mean, that's kind of pleasantly surprising, actually, because that's a... I remember what I primed this guy in. This guy would have been primed in German Panzer Grey from Vallejo. There was a time when I primed everything in that German Panzer Grey airbrush primer. Just because it's like, it's dark like a black, but it's not dark enough. Nowadays, I tend to prime things in what she was primed in and what these guys are primed in, which is this brown. This dark brown. Because I find that for dark things, it's dark enough, and for light things, that warmth really helps. If something's really light, for example, I just primed the Elites from Halo Flashpoint, I will prime it with a khaki. My favorite thing to prime things in was always a dark red, the Rot Brown, the red brown from Vallejo, but I really kind of don't like Vallejo's airbrush primers anymore because they're so cloggy. And Army Painter has not listened to me and released a new colored primer yet, although apparently they're working on that. Army Painter has no reason to listen to me, by the way. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form. Could be. Call me. You know, I like what you see, he says. As he's using non-Army Painter paints. I'm versatile. I like everybody. I cannot imagine sticking to a single paint line. That's why I don't know if I could ever be like, you know, I mean, obviously I'm not skilled enough to be on like the Army Painter team or whatever, but I don't think I could be even if I was, because I want to try everything. I want to try all these paints. I want to, you know, I want to try the new Monuments, what are they called? One coats or whatever they're called. Their answer to contrast colors, which well, tell you what, so far these off screen again, there we go. So far these cover pretty well. I'm kind of digging that. Now, does this mean I'm going to go out and buy all the P3 paints? Probably not, because is this doing anything that the other paints I already have aren't doing? Not really. Like, yes, this is covering quite nicely. I like the color. but I don't think this is covering any particularly better than the Army Painters or the Monument paints that I already have. And those I can get at my local store. It's really a big part of it. I'm currently writing a review for the Army Painter plastic glue. This stuff. And my review of it is, it's plastic glue. It works great. It's fine. It's plastic glue. It would have to be bad to not be good. But it's probably still important to some people because, unlike Tamiya Extra Thin Cement, the Army Painter is very ubiquitous. I can't get Tamiya Extra Thin locally. There used to be a place that had it. Not anymore. Now, I'm still probably going to just order the Tamiya airbrush cleaner. Alright, so we're going to let him dry. And then we'll go back to her. And do another coat of her skin. Let's get more of that topaz skin here. You can tell I've used this one because I bothered to paint the swatch on the top. Let's do another coat of all her skin, and then we'll take a look at her blazer again. Because I think I want to do the next step up. Maybe I'll do this P3 blue. Maybe this is just P3 paint night. Testing out the P3s. Which, as Mitchell pointed out, it's kind of funny that they call them that because Privateer Press is no longer in charge. You know, it doesn't... War Machine is Steamforged games now. And they were called P3 because it was Privateer Press Paints. That was the point of them being called P3. But now there's no Privateer Press, but they're still calling them P3 Paints, which is, you know, brand recognition is a thing. That's why Games Workshop is calling everything under Games Workshop Paints and removing the name Citadel because they're like, oh my gosh, someone could walk into a store and not understand that, you know, that you have to use these paints with their Warhammer models. I mean, you don't, but, you know, in their world, that's what they want is, oh, I'm buying Warhammer Space Marine. I'm buying Games Workshop Space Marines, therefore I must buy Games Workshop Ultramarine Blue or it won't be right and I'll go to paint jail. Which, I don't have the hatred for Games Workshop paints that a lot of folks do. I do dislike the pots, but I can live with them. And there are a few of them that I do actively like. I've not found anything that is quite as what it is to, like, Rannoch's hide. Valhalla says, the bristles are a little stiff in the bottle compared to Tamiya. Yes, Mitchell pointed that out as well, and I actually like that. I am finding it easier to control where I put the plastic cement with the Army Painter thing, which means that when I empty this bottle, I'm just going to dump my other plastic cement into it, and I'm not going to throw it out, because I like it. Yeah, so I noticed that my tendency is to creep up off camera. So I got to stay down here. Stay on the X. Stay on target. Stay on target. I came from behind. I haven't seen Star Wars in a long time, you know. That being said, I don't know if I need to watch Star Wars again. I could probably quote the entire first trilogy from memory. And because I was of an age where I was the target audience for the prequels, even though many of them are not good movies, I could quote them too. And not just the memes. But definitely the memes. Yep. Okay. For those of you who don't know, Tamiya Extra Thin Cement, you never need to buy Tamiya Extra Thin Cement because it is chemically identical to Tamiya Airbrush Cleaner, within like 1% of chemical. So you just buy the Airbrush Cleaner, which is cheaper per volume, and you do have to like put it in a bottle. You can use it, and but it's way cheaper per volume than paying the cost for these bottles of Tamiya Extra Thin. Came from behind was Warcraft 3. No, it was also Star Wars. It was the last words of one of the X-Wing fighters. He's like, it came from behind, and then he gets shot by the TIE fighters and explodes. I'd never played Warcraft 3. I've never played a Warcraft. I have played a little bit of World of Warcraft, because I have a good friend who I think has this stream open in another tab. If you're listening, hi. He plays World of Warcraft a lot. I have a problem having a healthy relationship with MMOs. I tend to get sucked into them and then spend too much time to the detriment of my other hobbies and health. So I have to be careful about them. I did play a bit of World of Warcraft. It's fine. Certainly better than it used to be, I think. And you can be a dragon now and fly around, which is really all I want from most games is just to be a dragon. Which you can tell in my Choice of War Machine faction, which is the dragon guys. But yeah, I never played a Warcraft game. I never played any of the Warcraft 1, 2, or 3. And I only briefly played enough StarCraft to know that I'm not any good at it. I am very bad at RTSs in general, so they have to have easy baby mode for me to play it and have fun, or I just get like curb stomped by every computer and everything. Played a lot of Age of Empires growing up. A lot of Age of Empires 2. Like an unhealthy amount of Age of Empires 2. But never online or against other people, except for like one time in a LAN party with a bunch of friends. So I was never very good at it. Because I would just turtle and build and then rush everything at the end once everything was like, super built up, and then win and be like, wow, that was fun. Alright, so now her skin's done. So, let's redo the blazer. We're gonna put away Ensign Blue for Army Painter. Not that it did anything wrong, it's actually quite a good paint. Gonna put away Dusty Skull. And let's get out this P3 Cygnar Blue? Cody says you're right, I forgot about that. I think Warcraft 3 was parodying that. Yes! Cygnar is one of the factions of War Machine, right? I don't know, I think Mitchell's not listening right now. But he will tell me later. Because no, wait, he might not, because he does not do lore. I have read the rule book of War Machine, and I think I know more lore than Mitchell does. It was the flying dwarf copters when they die, I think. Oh yeah, then they were definitely parodying the trench run scene. Oh, well, that is basically just the blue that we already had on there. So that's okay. We'll clean up with this blue, and then I still want to. I don't know if I want to do a lighter blue or not on here. Kind of do. But then again, if I gave her like a lighter skirt, that might be fine. I think the blazer can be the last thing we do. Up under there. I've got the Star Wars theme stuck in my head. Not the main theme, the theme that plays in the trench run. The da 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 da. Bum 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 bum. There's your musical. There's your music for today. It's discount Star Wars. Oh, you know what? I just realized I forgot to put up the stream overlay that Cody made for me. I am so sorry. I couldn't. I was going to say I couldn't figure out how to do that, but I actually forgot to even try. Although I did go back and download it from the chat where you sent it to me. So I will work on that on a different day. Figure out how to get that up. I'm imagining it's very easy. I could probably do it now if I wanted to, but I don't particularly... Yeah, it's fine. I love Egg of Cygnar. Egg of Cygnar. It's spelled C-Y-G-N-A-R. Cygnar? It's gotta be Cygnar, right? It can't be Cygnar. I guess it could be Cygnar. Made up fancy words. What is this, Games Workshop? Okay. So yeah. Ooh, I do like these paints. I mean, it is a pretty square that you put effort into, so I do want to use it because I think those things do matter. You know, the presentation. What's the line from Megamind, right? Presentation. So gotta do the branding. Also been watching a lot of Giant Bomb do Blight Club recently, which, if you don't know, is a game website that they play the worst video games ever, and to completion. They don't just like play them and go, oh well, this is bad, and they stop. No, they play them, and then they have to finish them, and it's often a tumultuous event. Anyway, I've been watching a lot of them, and part of what they do is they put a lot of love and effort into their overlays, and they're always delightful. So, oops, I got blue in her hand again. Dang it. So, can I flood that area and get rid of that, or is it already dry? It already dried, that's fine. Come back to that. The problem with this brush is it's too small for the torso, but it's too... But the big brush is too big for, like, that part right there. Or rather, it is when I use it with my big, clumsy hands. Big, meaty claws. Okay. And I know that's right there. I'm not getting that right now because that's on her belt, and I'm going to get that later. No point in bothering. All right, so got that blue down. Is there a khaki in the P3 paints? There's flesh tone, which would be funny. Something a lot of paint streamers do is a slideshow of their recent works in a small square in the corner. I'll have to make a layout for that. You should, although only after I actually get some things painted, because right now I think the only thing that would be in there that I would be happy to show would be the Vespids and the Quar I did. It would just be between two models going back and forth going, wow, look at this. This one thing I did. Okay, so there's no beige in here for the P3, so I'm going to have to break, unless I want to... And here's the thing, even if I go directly to white, I'm not painting with this white, right? Even if I make her skirt white, air quotes, I'm not using this white because you don't paint pure white cloth, especially in cloth. That would only be on the highlights, and I don't even think that would end up anywhere on her skirt here, except maybe on the edge, because painting pure white is a terrible plan. Don't do it. Don't ever do it. I'm going to get a drink of soda. Fitting for my namesake. Make sure to, slurp that directly into the microphone. Excuse me. Okay. So, we need another beige. So, here's the thing. Right now, currently, I don't dislike that color scheme. That dark blue blazer with kind of the beige skirt. And I think I like that better than if I made the skirt white. Does she have a brown belt or a black belt? I'm sorry, I'm off screen again. Let's see. All right, well, I think what we'll actually work on next is the next layers of skin. So we use this Midland flesh. I don't know what a Midland is. I haven't forgotten about Wizard Guy over here, but we'll pull him out when we need him. And I am going to paint over completely. Well, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to paint over her skin completely with this. I'm going to paint almost over everything. But I'm going to leave the recesses, if I can. Which I don't think I'll be able to on the fingers here because it's so small and I'm already struggling. But like, I'm not going to worry about getting right up against her cloth line there. This actually might be too pale. Yeah, well, we'll have to wait for it to dry because most acrylics do dry down. Meaning that they get darker as they dry. But that might be more fitting for her highest highlight than for the intermediate step here, because it is very bright. which again is not the worst thing. Some people are just very pale. Oh, I forgot her hat. Oops. Which will be the same blue as her. Painted Circle says the speculation on if the Uranthian succession is over campaign book wise. Yes, 100%. Okay, well, I mean, I don't have any insider information, but I would bet dollars to dimes that yes, we are done. I don't know if you've read the last book. Spoilers for those who have not read the last Uranthian succession campaign book. We're talking about Necromunda for those of you who have no idea what the hell any of those words mean. The most recent campaign book ends with Aranthius dying but not dying. Like, Lady Credo recovers his body. Basically, Necromunda has returned to status quo. Lord Helmar is back in power. Cal Jericho is still a bounty hunter on the run. Lady Hera is in power, but not in, like, ruling Necromunda. But she's still around and kicking and able to basically be a part of the game. And with Games Workshop and with any living rule set, status quo, return to status quo is kind of where you always end up, because that's how you end up. It's the jumping off point for the next thing that happens. And, you know, the status quo for Necromunda is, well, everything sucks, but everything sucks in the way where Lord Helmar is in charge, and, you know, Cal Jericho's running around being a charismatic bounty hunter. Ozymandias is gone. He's dead. He's out of, like, his main power, but he's still, you know, they made it clear that he has, like, a backup body, meaning that you can still use him in a game and it would make narrative sense. They didn't just kill him. Same thing with the Prophet. Spoilers. The Prophet died, but someone else picked up the relic, and what it makes it clear is that whatever relic he was carrying is what actually makes him the Prophet, and the person is utterly meaningless. So that means you can still use the Prophet. There's still a Prophet of the Redemption going on. So basically, like, yeah, everything is kind of back to normal. Back to Norman, as the Rugrats would say. Meaning, yeah, I would put money on the fact that that's it for that campaign book series. Will further campaign books call to that? Are we necessarily done with Aranthius? Maybe not. He could come back as the big bad. He's still around, and he said he has, like, you know, siblings or something like that, or other people like him that they're going to wake up, kind of hinting at what's going to happen next. So we might not be done with Aranthius, but it won't be called the Aranthian Succession, I would bet, and it will be something different. Honestly, this is the first and only time so far they've ever done anything like that for Necromunda. So we don't have precedent to go off of, because there have been other Necromunda campaign books, like Dark Uprising, but they've been almost entirely self-contained. So we don't have any. It's not like the only thing we could go off of is the 40k campaign books, which don't really provide us with a lot of or I guess the Age of Sigmar ones, but neither of those really provide us with any super good insights. Because in Age of Sigmar, they're actually willing to push the envelope and, like, break things. Cities burn down, people die. Like, they're willing to do that in Age of Sigmar in a way that 40k kind of can't. True, maybe that skull-shaped hive full of orcs is necked. Yes, Cody might know more about what hive he's talking about. It's not Secundus. Is it just the skull? Like, Necromunda is just the skull. It's an old hive that's filled with orcs. Would be interesting. I am, perhaps a little contentiously, I do not want to see orc gangs in Necromunda. I feel like it's just not their place. Same reason I don't want to see a pure Tyranid gang in Necromunda. I am fine with the Malstrain Genestealers being a thing that you don't really play outside of that one campaign, unless you're playing Malstrain infected gangs. Yeah, it is the skull. Yeah, I think Cody and I are just going to have to disagree on this one. I don't want to see orcs as a gang in Necromunda. Wow, I'm watching the stream. I'm off camera again. I'm very sorry. I will get better. I'll get better. I wouldn't mind seeing them do what they did with the Malstrains, which is like, okay, there's like one gang that is kind of like it that you could play for one thing. But I don't want to see, like, everyone being able to play orcs in Necromunda. Partially because, like, they don't have a trading post, and it just feels like they would be have to do one thing specifically. I'm kind of coming around to this skin tone, by the way, but it absolutely will need a wash after this and then a re-highlight. And skin is the only thing I put this level of effort into. I don't really paint display models, per se. I'm not sure what I want to do with the hair. And no, before anybody asks, I don't have like a type as far as hair color goes. I would want to see them as secondary gang, no quite as restricted as Malstrain Bloomer. Dick Moosey says, "Oh, fun! I didn't know you streamed too." I didn't. This is the first one. Congratulations and welcome to the inaugural Miniatures Rundown Hobby stream. I want to make this more of a thing every Thursday, though, because 2 reasons: A, I enjoy doing this, and B, it will make me paint more. And I got gangs to paint, man. I only have one finished, painted, fully gang. I have a lot of half-started gangs. No, 2, because I have Hive Scum and I have Orlok. They're fully painted. But I have Van Sard left to do. What Valhalla says, I want to see them as a secondary gang. Yeah, I could see that. Not quite as restricted as Malstrain, but a little more restricted than Ash Wastes. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to see them as a gang you could pick for any Necromunda. I think that's just me, though. But I'm not going to throw my baby out with the bathwater and burn my army if they do it, you know? I'm not going to, go, oh, they're ruining Necromunda. But I would not love if, they were, a full gang that you could just play all the time. I don't feel like that's their place. I don't dislike orcs. I actually like orcs quite a lot. Not enough to play 40k, but I actually like orcs, and I like painting their skin. So here's an example of what I was talking about earlier. I went back and put my brush on this face too quickly after it hadn't quite dried, and I started lifting up paint. So I'm going to take my water and smooth it out, and then wait for it to dry. And be patient. Something I'm not good at. Painted Circle says, I spent a good chunk of money on Secundus to port the hobby. Yes, Secundus was great. I did like Secundus a lot. I gotta build my Spryers. So an arbitrator scenario for us instead. I was thinking more like the Malstrain Genestealers. Not the Malstrain Infected gang, but more like the Malstrain Genestealers, where they are playable, but specifically for a campaign, and not really outside of that campaign. But unlike Malstrain Genestealers, where you can just play a Malstrain Infected gang, you can't really play an Orc Infected gang. Although they are a fungus. Maybe you could get oh god, what if sorry, now I'm thinking, what if The Last of Us but orcs? You breathe in the fungus, and instead of turning you into a clicker, it turns you into a British football hooligan with green skin. Oh, note, I've never played The Last of Us, so that could be what happens for all I know. Alright, I do like that skin. It's going to need a wash. Let's get another layer. Let's get a lighter layer on her. That'd be yellow. That'd probably be too yellow. On her skirt. Let me see. Light battle dress was not very light. Canvas is probably... hello, Sugar Candy Miniatures. Friend of the channel, Sugar Candy Miniatures, aka Fiverr, because that's probably what we call them as. Duke Moosey says, turns you into a Gorka Morka human. Yeah, just it makes you want to race cars. I mean, actually, that sounds like really fun. Let me see. What I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave her skirt like that, and then we'll highlight it up later. But it's not fully. You can see it's not fully. Covered, so we're going to put another layer on there. I've never actually played Gorka Morka. I never got to play Speed Freaks either. It's on my to-do list. We did get, if you didn't see our loot haul stream, we did get a copy of the Necromunda 95 rulebook. However, we did not get the source book, which I did not realize was a thing. What's the easy brute hired gun? That's a freebooters as well? Yeah. Sugar Candy Miniatures asks, what'd you paint this lady for? Because it was a mini on my desk. I don't remember where I got this lady. I kind of wasn't expecting anybody to show up because this is the very first time I'm really hobby streaming. So I just grabbed a mini and started painting her. Because I'm also not great at painting skin or clothing, and she has both. So I don't really know. I don't know which. I think this is a Bombshells mini. Like, I think I got this as a promo in last year's Adepticon swag bag, not even this year. But I don't know for sure. But she's getting painted because she was there. And what will I use her for? I don't know. Maybe a civilian somewhere. I don't really play any modern games where she would fit. Like, I'm guessing she's Bombshell Minis because she's kind of like in that, like, 50s pulp, like, for lack of a better word, pinup style. I mean, not pinup in the modern sense of a mini that I would not feel comfortable painting on the channel. But, you know, like a 40s pinup that you would see on a recruitment poster or something. She kind of looks like that to me. Which is kind of what Bombshell Minis specializes in. For a company called Bombshell Minis, they have a blessedly small amount of, like, actual pinups, which I like. Not that I'm shaming anybody for having those. By all means, paint what you want to paint. It's just not my bag. Although maybe it would be if I could paint skin. I have Speed Freaks new in box. You would, Cody. I'm not calling you out, but you would. Well, hey, if you build it. I mean, then again, if it's new in box, it's probably worth money. Although I guess it might not be because all those vehicles are available as models. But then again, might not be. Easy Fallout Factions fit. Yeah, she's kind of Fallout-y, 50s, right? I did like playing Fallout Factions, but I did not painting the minis did not spark joy, and I don't know why, because I'm a huge Fallout head. But I did not enjoy the process of trying to paint the minis. I think it's something about how trying to bring something to life that has a media equivalent. I don't seem to like that as much. We're going to let her dry a little bit, and we're going to go back to this guy, who technically is for Imperial Guard, but like I have a feeling that if he's in this book, he won't be in the next one, because this is a metal model. I'm pretty sure it's not. So I'm going to look up if I think it's called the Astropath. Someone look up if the Astropath is still available on the Games Workshop web store. I plan to paint it. My next Orc Adventure is Speed Wall. I mean, you're choosing the right moment to get into Speed Wall, right? Like, I'm assuming, man, Cody, by the time you and I get through all those releases of that Armageddon book, there ain't going to be anything left for anybody else in that store, because all the guards going to me, and all the orcs are going to you. I guess someone can have the sisters. Maybe we can make Mitchell play sisters. I don't think Mitchell wants to play sisters. Yeah, Creepy Robe Guy. He is an astropath, so like he's a... Or maybe he's not. I think I'm calling him something wrong. I don't think he's actually called an astropath. I think I'm... But he's a Imperial Guard psyker, basically. But not a battle psyker. He's like somebody who was supposed to stand with the command squad and like go, you know, he'd be an advisor. Yes, my lord. I sense great danger over that hill, my lord. Duck, my lord. But he gave a 4-up ward save against mortal wounds, which means I used him, much to the chagrin of certain players. It's a new model. It's from the Blackstone Fortress. Oh, no, yeah, this is not... Oh, you're thinking, That's the Navigator. Blackstone Fortress is the Navigator. And the Navigators are the guys who are just Dune ripoffs, where they're mutated. And they have a third eye, and they're just like they're just Dune. This guy's just a psyker, and not even a particularly high-ranking one of that. But you can tell he's a Warhams mini because he's got the little eagle there. With the silly helmet, there's the Primaris Psyker. Yes, and I do have the Primaris Psyker. So I bet you're just supposed to use the Primaris Psyker nowadays instead of this guy. This guy came in a 3-pack with 2 other metal models. One of them was the Master of the Fleet that you could use to call in an airstrike. And then there was this guy, and I can't remember who the third one was, but they were weirdos, right? Like they're the kind of thing I would pick up because they were weird and different. I think this guy was the most boring of the weirdos in that set, but he was in there. He's also going to paint really fast because, you know, it's one color and then a staff color. All right, now his staff, despite there not being like any wood in the 41st Millennium, does appear to be made of wood. So let's paint it made of wood. Let's use this, another P3 paint, this Battlefield Brown. Hey, can I have a more generic color name? Also, I'm going to paint his boots brown, even though you can barely just see the little tips of his toes. Oh, Blackstone Fortress. I'm annoyed that some of those minis never got a re-release. Like, I know that some of them did in the Combat Arena box that was Barnes & Noble, but some of them didn't. Like, those should all... I mean, you guys, if you don't know my opinion on my stance on weirdos, and a weirdo, what does a weirdo mean? Well, a weirdo is any miniature that is just weird and different. So an Imperial Guardsman's not a weirdo. But, that new guy on the Spider Horse, that's a weirdo, right? You know. Lots of Inquisitors count as weirdos. So, there we go. He's got little brown shoes. Those little brown shoes, when I base this guy with mud, are going to disappear into the mud, which I feel is appropriate. Let's paint his staff brown. Actually, going to use a bigger brush for this. Paint his staff brown. You know, if I was thinking, what I probably should have done is like got out some Necromunda models to paint, because it's kind of like the thing we're known for on the channel. But I wasn't thinking. I have Necromunda models to paint. Good lord, do I have Necromunda models to paint? I do have some Vansar, because I think that might be what I play next, although maybe not, because I sold some of my unopened boxes. I got Escher, which I never finished painting because I could never, again, the skin tones, right? Like, but I gotta conquer my fears. Alright, now here's the problem. This is from the era of metal miniatures when I can't necessarily tell what the heck this is up here. Like, there's an eye, and I think that's parchment. Yeah, okay, I see what it is. It's going to be a golden eye. That's the Inquisitorial seal. The golden eye. And then a bunch of parchment hanging off of it. Oops. Do some Venator modeling. So the problem with modeling on stream, for me personally, is my modeling is very iterative, and it would be a whole lot of just nothing on camera as I dig through my bits, right? Because it's very like trial and error and like scrabbling things together and digging through things and thinking up ideas. I don't think that modeling in, like, painting a modeled Venator, definitely. Modeling a Venator in real time on stream might be a very boring stream to watch, because it would just be the sounds of as I go through my bits bin and go, yeah, that doesn't work, that doesn't. I'd like to find Blackstone for PvE kill team stuff. I already have the Amble, and I will get the Zote. That is Z-O-A-T-E-T, not Z-O-T-E, Cody. We have a Zote expert in the chat in Sugar Candy Miniatures, so you gotta spell it right. Forgot I had that 2 hours later, yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Like, a lot of my modeling and stuff is very, Ooh, what's this? Alright, so, we're gonna paint his skin. So, here's the thing. He is a weirdo, so he's gonna be pale. He's gonna be very pale. So, let's see. What do I have for very pale skin tones? I've got... Well, we're probably still going to start with, like, a dark skin tone. Because, just because it, like, you still want, you know, even very pale people have blood, right? It's not enough. Zote. Oh, I need to find my Zote and paint that on stream because I know I never painted him. Or at least I never finished painting him. So I gotta find that and paint him before he comes out in a new model so I can be a hipster about it and be like, oh, you guys got the Zote? Yes, I already had one because I'm a true fan. I think I missed my opportunity to sell that to Fiverr at an extreme up cost. Rare Zotes! But alas. How dare you abandon him? Look! There was a lot of things in that board game, alright? What's he holding? Oh my gosh, he's not holding anything. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see this. Whoop. Is that going to focus? No, that won't focus. Okay, he's not holding something. That's a piece of metal flash I forgot to remove. So... he's holding on to his necklace, but I literally forgot to remove a piece of metal flashing. So what we're going to do, because we've got him, right? And I have some bottled primer. I have, because I don't want to paint directly over that metal, because it won't work very well. Or won't stick. And metal, like, it's always... But I have this. I have Monuments Brush On Primer. And this is actually pretty good. People think that Brush On Primer needs to, like, be smooth and stuff. It does not. Remember, primer only needs to give you a coat for something you do want to be smooth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that down. And we're going to put that over that metal spot. And it won't be as good as a spray. But it'll be better than if I did nothing at all. It was a good metaphor for life. Joke's on you, already have him and painted him. Oh, right, I forgot about that. Well, along with everything else, it'll probably be a limited supply. Give it 6 months. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'm not going to buy a second one, because I don't need 2 Zotes. Okay, so let's, while we're waiting for that to dry, let's paint his face. He is very gaunt. I don't think you guys can see this on stream, but he is, he has... If his eyes were any more sunken in, I would think he was just a skeleton, but he is not. He is just, They don't make guys like this anymore. And I realize I'm sounding reductionist or whatever, but, like... They wouldn't make somebody with this level of gaunt features anymore because it's not realistic, and it would look inhuman. But that's fine. They're not supposed to be human. They're supposed to be weirdos in the 41st millennium. Make sure I stay on stream here. Okay. Okay, so this guy, yeah, this guy's gonna be so pale, I want it to be funny. You can tell I'm concentrating because I've stopped talking for once. Breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Last thing you need to do is pass out on stream because you didn't breathe. Well, what happened to him? Well, he hit his head after he passed out because he was trying to paint a guy's ears. Oh, okay. Fun fact, if you die while mini painting, you do go to Valhalla. It's a weird loophole. There we go. Look, more human. Me who collects basically every Xenos faction. Yeah, Mitchell called me out on that on the stream the other day because I was like, you know, given the opportunity, I will always play the non-human weirdos. So he's like, you play guard in cities. And I'm like, okay, wait, hold on. First off, I play guard because of the tanks, all right? And I play cities. I don't play cities anymore because I only played them when they were the mix of people. I liked the I'm going to kill Nagash with the power of friendship and also this gun I found. And now that it's just humans, I'm less interested in cities because I like the you know, the get-together force of weird elves and dwarves and this mishmash of all these different cultures just, like, barely tolerating each other but coming together to kick someone's butt when that person is Archeon or Nagash or whatever. Yeah, you play freaking guard. Playing it because of the tanks is arguably worse. Only according to you, Fire. Only according to you. You're the tank hater weirdo, alright? Tanks are cool. They're big things that go brrrr and make loud noises. Okay, tanks are great. Now, to be fair, my other Age of Sigmar army is Skaven. And if they had a dragon faction, like, I play Stormcast too, not in almost entirely because that's where the dragons live. Like, the Stormcast I have are because there were dragons. And I love dragons. And I'm always right, so, like, yeah, sure, not with this case. Not today! In lore, this, like, Malarian, who is the Dark Elf guy, like the very typical Dark Elf guy, not like Marathi, which is the, you know, Witch Elves and the Snake people. In lore, that he's like a weird shadow dragon man, and I keep waiting for them to release that so I can play weird dragon people in Age of Sigmar. But every day we stray further from God's light. By God, I mean Games Workshop. Because they won't release me my shadow elves. Yep, gotta. Okay, so I have a feeling I'm going to have to paint the... You know, I could use this guy for Necromunda pretty easily. He'd make a pretty good Psyker. Or just a, like a Psyker hanger-on or something like that. Every model is a Necromunda model, but some models are more Necromunda models than others, or at least some models are more Necromunda with less effort. And this is certainly falling in the category of this is Necromunda without pretty much any changes. I don't need to kit bash this guy. Which is good, because kit bashing metal models is an absolute nightmare. I just like aliens and dwarves. Yes, you do, Cody. Although you do also have Space Marines. Okay, so, question on this guy. I don't know if you guys can see this. He's got this tabard here, right? Like, on the model, there's this thing right here. Like, he's got the ropes, but there's also this. And I don't know whether I want to paint that as a different color than the rest of his robes. Or if that should also just be green. I'm going to think about that. We're going to wait for him to dry. Well, actually, I'm going to paint the head while I wait for him to dry. Well, let's continue with the P3s. We're going to get some metals in here. Come on. Oh, there we go. Okay. And I'm a little suspicious of these because metals tend to not be as easy to do in a lot of ways. And by easy to do, I mean that most metals are just kind of crap. I actually don't know if this symbol is supposed to be pure gold. I think it might be supposed to be gold and a silver background, but I'm not doing that. Because I don't want to. So we can be fairly messy with this because the other things around it are going to be painted over. That's not a bad gold. I've certainly painted with worse golds, so... Wait, did I do it again? I think I did it again. I think I did another... I didn't catch the flashing. Hold on. more flashing that was not supposed to be there. How about that? Is that also flashing that's not supposed to be there? Oh! Uh-oh. Well, I popped it right off. So... that's okay. My hubris has gotten the better of me. So, what we'll do is we'll super glue that back on. That is the downside of metal models. I like all the little fun little guys, goblins, trolls, rascals, aliens. That's true. Those are the best, these little guys. So, live hobby surgery on stream. Now that does mean I think we're done with this guy for the night, because that's going to need to dry. Luckily, very clean break. You just let that sit there for a bit. Nope, he says, as it does not sit there for a bit. This is why I don't like metal models, among many other things. And if you're like, but Josh, that was entirely your fault. Yes, yes it was. Point stands. Now, if for some reason this doesn't hold, I have alternate solutions. AKA, I can use a stronger epoxy that I have access to. There's other things I can do, even if this for some reason does not hold. But we are going to have to wait for him to fully dry. So you go back over there, sir. Okay, well, we're done painting him for the night because he's going to need to dry. So we're going to go back to her. All right, let's get another layer of that khaki. All right, there we go. Yeah, as the khaki comes together, I was originally thinking I was going to do like a lighter blue on her blazer, but I kind of like that blue actually. We are, however, going to put an actual white in her dress shirt, because she probably would be wearing a white dress shirt underneath. So let's see how P3's white is. You know, white paint is white paint. So let's see how this does. Got to get that in there. Which you're barely going to be able to see because she's wearing a tie. So really this is kind of like, just going to kind of sit in there. And we're going to need to wait for that to dry pretty severely and redo the rest of it. Now, generally when one paints from the bottom up, but I kind of forgot to do that, so. Alright, let's do another pass through on her skin. So you need to do her shoes. Which I think would be black. And that means her belt will also be black. Okay. Do you have a Army Painter speed paint? Holy White, really nice contrast paint. Let me check, actually. Not sure I have Holy White anymore. You know what, I do, but I only have the Gen 1 speed paint. And it's in a box somewhere. So I know I don't have that one out and about. It is an interesting one for shading white. I'll show you what I do here in a second instead, because if I was really worried about the shading of the white, I would absolutely use that. The GW Apothecary white is also pretty good for like if you want like an actual pure white. In this case, I'm going to use what is called an Omni wash, which is basically one wash for all of this. This is 2.0, yeah. They made a 1.0 as well. I don't have any of the 2.0 speed paints, or rather, I have very few of the 2.0 speed paints. I kind of got away from using the speed paints because I was kind of relying on them in a bad way. Not that they're bad, but I was not using them. I was spending so much time prepping for the speed paints that I wouldn't actually just end up painting. And it got to the point where it was like, and then the other problem is that as you can see, I'm a very messy painter, or you could see if I kept on camera. I'm a very messy painter with lots of redos, and you can't really do that with speed paints. Alright, so let's do her hat while we're here. But yeah, I have a 1.0 Holy White somewhere. I do not have any 2.0 Holy White. The only 2.0 speed paints I have, I think, are the ones that came with the John Blanche sets like that. The Blood Moon Red, which is a really nice red, by the way. Let's go ahead and... Okay, so secret for doing black is never do black. Same thing with like blue, or same thing with white. Never do pure white, never do pure black. Pure black is super boring. So I'm not going to use P3's pure black. I will pretty much never use that. Instead, what I'm going to grab is one of my favorite non-blacks, which is Ironclad Gray. Because later, when we shade this, that means it'll actually shade and be different. And it'll have shadow and depth in a way that it would not if we used a pure black. Now, note, I am not an expert on painting black, so someone who actually knows how to paint says paint black. Well, paint black. But, and this is going to look really gray to go on. Like, it's not going to look like black at all. There we go. This might actually not be dark enough for this purposes because the lightness of the rest of her outfit might actually kind of be working against us here. So I might actually need to go for a darker, not black. Go. But once that dries down, and from a distance, it'll look like black. For other not blacks, I have Strap Gray. This is just the one I like. Okay, looks like the white in her collar is mostly dried, so let's put another layer in there, and then we'll do the tie. Oops, that was very messy. That's okay, we're going to redo it anyway. It is a challenge to paint that shoe right along that line. And not go over it. That probably would have been better done earlier when I was still on the darker skin tone, because then I wouldn't have to worry about it as much. Oh well, lesson learned. I am not a particularly good painter, as you can probably tell. I'm not a bad painter. There's a reason you don't see me doing a lot of hobby tutorials. I just don't quite feel qualified. I will, however, happily just, espouse all the information I steal from other people doing way better hobby tutorial videos like Vincent Venturella or Sonic Sledgehammer. Those guys know how to paint. in very different ways. And I think those two are proof that there's more than one way to paint a cat, as it were. Okay, there we go. So now she's got her shoes. Let's fix some of the gray that I splotched on her legs. Looks like we'll need to do one more round of khaki, maybe? Yeah, one more round of khaki. Or rather, light battle dress, I should say. On her dress, skirt, rather. Well, I only come here for the topping tutorial, so where's my content? Hobby tutorial. I'm just going to start cribbing yours. I'm going to be like, how to paint candy polka dots. I'm just here for hangout time while I paint my Roblox Road Captain. That is, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I'm envisioning this as. Less paint like me and more paint with me. Do it. Yeah, I mean, you found something else you need to do instead, Fiverr, rather than making videos. I think you've been, for those who don't know, Fiverr made a game called Snack 28, which is about candy people eating each other. And it's getting published, so it's not just you're out of the range of, like, this is just a random thing on the internet, and now you're, like, legit. Hashtag famous. Alright. I don't love the P3 skin. This might be user error, so I'm not gonna blame the paint. But I don't I'm not in love with it. Let's go with Rosie's skin here. Yeah, that's where it's out on May 9th, yes. So we're gonna go over her skin again with this Rosie skin here. Get some water on that. Oops. Completely bunged up her jacket again. I'm doing good at that. Oh, and I always forgot to do the thumbs. This is a slightly different skin tone. It's actually a little darker, which I actually like. I think she was a little too pale. Which was good for the other guy that we'll paint later, but not good for her. I don't think that's how I envisioned her. Okay. Alright. Oops. Overlap the shoes a little, that's okay. We'll fix that later. Let's get her face now. The hard part. Alright, let's touch up her skirt and jacket one more time. And we'll do her belt. And then she'll be ready for a wash. Okay. Alright, there we go. Alright. Okay, where's my blue jacket? I do like this blue, the Cygnar blue. Age of Cygnar. Egg of Cygnar, as Cody called it. We're just going to use this to touch up all the spots that I blorped all over. Morbed all over this jacket. Here, part of the movie was when he said it's Cygnar time, and he Cygnar blued all over that jacket. Is that meme still relevant? I don't think it is. I don't think anyone cares about Morbius anymore. I mean, I don't think nobody cared about Morbius at the time. Never forget, we managed to gaslight and some incredibly wealthy and powerful people into re-releasing an absolute dud of a movie via the power of crappy memes. Okay, and now she has a red tie. So we're going to use this bright red, this Khador red. I think Khador is one of the other factions. Khador? Khador? I don't know. These words are all made up. You can pronounce them how you want. We're going to use that to dot her tie. I don't like these bottles either. They don't like to turn closed. I don't get what's wrong with the normal bottles. Anyway. And this will be very bright because it's going over white. So small I can't even see it anymore. That's okay, we'll just kind of go over it and then... There we go. Oops. Got my head in the way. Paint bottle complaints are always so valid. Sometimes I don't get some of the hate for some of the things. Like, a lot of people hate the Pro Acryl caps. I don't get that, although I did redo mine. I did not buy these from Pro Acryl. I bought these from Amazon, cheaper. I don't hate the normal Pro Acryls. I just hate they're just too big. All right. Okay, so key, we need to wait for that to dry. Not repeat our mistakes of the past. So let's do another pass on her skirt while we're waiting for that to dry. Just another nice smooth coat. That skirt's turned out really beige, but that's okay. We'll lighten it up after we wash it. Let's also do her belt thing. Is it called a belt or is it called a cummerbund when it's around the outside of your jacket like that? I don't know fashion. You know, I wonder if this belt was supposed to be white. I hope not. I don't want to paint a white belt. Morbius was okay 10, if only thanks to Doctor Who Man. Oh yeah, what's his name was in it? out. Gotta get in there and get all that. Okay, there, now she's got her black belt. We'll also paint some gold buttons on her. And I guess a gold belt buckle. I think we're at the point where we can do another layer of red on our tie as well. Nope, need less paint than that. Very, very small brush. Nope, that's not what we wanted. So, thankfully that is easily fixed. Oh, not easily fixed. Hold on. So what you do is you flood that area with water. And just keep flooding and pulling, and that way, look, bam, it's like I never even completely botched that. Although, of course, the key now is I need to wait for that to dry. You notice that's a running pattern here. The phrase is wait for it to dry. So I haven't figured out what hair color I want for her. Once again off screen. All right, let that dry for a second. I'll take a drink. I don't want to, like, I don't know. I feel like blonde is too stereotypical. And blonde is hard. But we won't ever learn how to paint blonde if I don't ever try to paint blonde. So, I'm going to try. Let's try this Moonbeam Yellow, although... See, that's too comically bright. So we'll try this Moonbeam Yellow. And we're going to make the wise decision this time to paint the hair before we paint the hat. Oh, that's very bright. That might have been a mistake. Oh dear. Oh geez. Oh, look at how... Oh, good heavens. Okay, first off, alright, I've made several mistakes here. First off, I just painted it directly over black or brown. So this is going to take about 40,000 coats. I don't know why I didn't think of that. It'll dry down, so I need to be patient. Trust the process. Man, that is a bright, bright yellow. That's going to be a very yellow blonde. Working up from a bone color similar to the skirt might end up better. Okay, so now I will say I do have somewhat of a plan because I know what the Sonic Tonic is going to do. The magical Sonic Tonic. The fixer of all ills, deliverer of all goods. And I know it's going to brown and dark it down. That being said, probably still should have worked up from something darker, like this. This nice sunburst ochre. First off, I think this would actually make a really nice hair color by itself. So once that dries, we're going to try that instead. Learning things about painting hair. All right, let's take another stab, maybe more literally than I intended, at the red on the tie. So just kind of go dot, 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 dot. All right, there we go. Let's clean it up. The jacket. Wait, no. Think, Josh, think. Gold buttons, then clean up the jacket. So. And then, looks like her belt is made of two... We're just going to do the whole belt buckle in gold. Actually, I can't figure out what this belt buckle's supposed to be. It's got like these two buckle things on here and then a gap in the middle. I wonder if... the gap is supposed to be black too? Which feel kind of weird. I don't know, maybe the buckle's not supposed to be gold. I mean, I say supposed to be. It's not like there was box art for this one. It's not like this is a GW product where it's like, paint it this way, on this way only. Apologies to all my German listeners who had to listen to me say that out loud. Yeah, I guess that kind of works. Okay. Alright. Again, wait for it to dry. I will say, as the yellow has dried down, it's still too yellow, but it's grown on me. And again, I know what's coming, which feels like a cop-out to say. Before we go away from Moonbeam Yellow, though, I am going to paint the swatch real quick. So, let's... This is always fun, because you just kind of go blurp. Paint little squid guy. These are the Kraken toppers from Victoria Miniatures, a company that I quite like for a lot of things. They have some fantastic STLs. They make some great guard proxies for all your favorite regiments, except Steel Legion. They don't do one for Steel Legion for some reason. Okay, so maybe not all your favorite regiments. Oop, I'll drop my brush. This being yellow, even over this khaki here, we're going to have to do a lot of coats on just the swatch. Which probably should have warned me when or probably should have tipped me off. When I tried to put her hair on there, but okay, it's fine, it's fine. So I'll let that dry. Alright, let's try Sunburst Ochre, which is a John Blanche paint. John Blanchet. Blanchy. Okay. Let's try this Sunburst Ochre. Oh, it just sunburst all over my palette. Gosh dang it. It's fine. It's fine. We'll be okay. Yeah, so first off, this covers very well. Oops. Second off. I like the color. Let me get the blue back in there. I'll do that later. So I actually like that hair color by itself. Not quite blonde, not quite ginger, not quite brown. Just a nice ochre. Gonna need another coat. Listen. Mitchell says, just finished cleaning my basement and Lillian sitting down with a drink. What are you drinking, Mitchell? I'm doing okay. You missed the epic fail of putting yellow directly over brown and ending up with an absolute mess of a color. I think with the wash I'm going to use, I mean, Fire says that's more natural of a starting point. I think with the wash I'm going to use, that actually might be an end point, because I kind of like that hair color. Needs another coat, though. And while we're waiting for that to dry, we're going to put another coat of Rosie's skin on her face, because I don't know if you guys can see this on the stream, but I can see some spots where like brush strokes are too apparent on the face, which means when I go to wash it, it will absolutely show up. Now, there's two ways around that. One of them is to cheat completely and use a gloss varnish, which I probably will do. The other is to put another layer of skin tone over it that is very watered down to try and fill some of that in. I also need to get under here. There we go. It's more ginger. Yeah, it's a little gingery. Okay. This also doesn't because the gold hair kind of also not clashed with, was not complementary. I don't know how to describe it. It looked weird with the gold buttons because it was too golden. This contrasts with the gold buttons, or it doesn't contrast necessarily, but it doesn't blend in with them as much. Speaking of which, we're going to give another pass to her gold on her buttons. There we go. Gold, gold, gold. There we go. Okay, I'll clean that up. I've decided I'm going to go till about 10 o'clock my time, which is in another hour. Nice 3-hour stream. That'll be a good stopping point. So I'll give it another hour. Of course, you guys don't have to stay if you're tired or anything like that, because you guys are in different time zones. Maybe. Or maybe you're just tired, or maybe you're just bored. Either way, stay as long as you like. Yeah, this is coming together now. Kind of like how her skirt turned out, especially for just being, you know. Well, I guess while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'll take my ochre, and you guys can't see what happened on my palette. Kind of went a little oops with the ochre there and just exploded because the bottle was a little clogged, and I have safety pins for this. I should have used that instead of just, you know, powering through and being like, I'm going to squeeze her harder. Mitchell says he's drinking a whiskey sour. Good choice. Mitchell, do you remember what the... Because we had Adepticon, I tried 3 cocktails. One of them was the paper airplane, which was good. One of them was that super smoky thing that was also good, but incredibly smoky. And then I don't remember what the other one I tried in the middle was. Probably because I had 3 cocktails that night, and that's not conducive to remembering things. So let's at least put this paint to good use so it won't completely be wasted. I was trying not to get it on the cap, then I realized, why do I care about getting paint color on the cap of the paint it's on? Oh no. Okay, there we go. That's nice and... Alright, let's do another layer of her hair, which should be mostly dry now. Are you... Oh, nope. I gotta... One second, I gotta... Oh, he's mostly... his staff is mostly glued back together, but not quite. So we're gonna break out the Quickset gap-filling adhesive, which is actually much better super glue. In fact, it's so good that it's clogged the bottle. Hate my... Where'd my normal super glue go? There we go. Might have to epoxy this guy. Sorry, I know I'm not on the camera, but some things I can't do on camera, and one of them is super glue a very finicky metal part. I just got plain old water with lemon, but my ice cubes are shaped like stars, so points for style, yes. I mean, you will never, ever hear me be someone to push someone to drink booze. They don't want to. Not everyone likes to. I did not for the longest time. And I still don't when I'm alone. It's just, I don't know. I don't have anything against it. I just don't. I pretty much only ever drink at Adepticon. With Mitchell. And then I have 3 cocktails, and that's like enough to put me under the table. Well, Mitchell's like, oh yeah, I pre-gamed with one of my beer sours and a shot of it was apple E&J brandy, I think, and then has the same cocktails I do, and it's just like not even, yeah. I'm a lightweight, is what I'm saying. But hey, you know, cheap date. There we go. Yeah, I like that. Okay, yeah, I'm really liking that hair color, actually. I need to write that down. I need to, not write that down, take a mental note of that I like this hair. I like Sunburst Ochre as this kind of gingery hair color. Now, let's paint her hat. Actually, let's wait for that to dry. 2 shots and 2 beers, yeah. Yeah, if I don't get tummy aches, for a very, very long time, an embarrassingly long time, I didn't understand that when people were drinking, they weren't getting the migraines I was getting, because it's a migraine trigger for me if I don't overhydrate. So for most of my college years, I would like try to have drinks at a party and be like, why are you guys doing this to yourself? It's just, you're miserable, right? Like me? No, it turns out that's not a normal reaction. But yeah, I had I think last year when we went to Mater's, and yeah, I had a beer, and when it was a beer, I only had 1 beer, but it was a German beer that was in a full German beer glass. It was very tall. And then I also had a brandy, which was not very good, actually. I was kind of not impressed with the brandy. But, yeah, the beer was great. That was actually where I've learned I liked beer, because for a very long time I didn't like beer. And then it turns out I just need to find the right beer. Also, the sours that Mitchell gets are sometimes really good, and, like, I really like them, and then sometimes I'm like, how are you drinking this? You had 2 of them at Adepticon, and one of them was like, okay, this is actually really tasty. And then the second one you gave me, I felt like I'd thrown up in my mouth. Because it was just sour. Alright. Well, let's get another dash of Cygnar. Mitchell, how do you pronounce it? We were debating it. And then I remembered you don't actually care about lore, so you probably don't have any better idea than I do. Learned I like bourbon. I do like a good bourbon, yes. There's a lot of them here. That's the one nice thing about Indiana is that bourbon is ridiculously cheap because we have corn everywhere. So, and most of the bourbon distilleries are located in Kentucky, which is very close to us. All right, now let's paint your little hat, ma'am. Little blue hat. Ooh, yeah. See, this is now. I'm going to do the Kronk voice. Ooh, yeah. All come together. And Mitchell says my pronunciation of Cygnar is right. Okay. So for those of you who saw the Cygnar is like Sigmar, but with the M swapped to an M. Yeah, I mean, that explains why Cody made the egg of Cygnar joke. Those of you who missed the Adepticon loot stream, it's still up if you want to watch us blab about capitalism for, like, you know, an hour. I am getting into War Machine. I picked the Chimera as my faction because they're weird metal dragon people, and as previously discussed, I just want to play dragons. I primed them today, although I didn't. I still got one left to build. I will say I'm not against it, and I fully understand why, because it is cheaper and literally better for the environment, but I do not love having to look up instructions on my phone or on an iPad or on the computer, because they don't have the instructions in the box. They just they have a QR code. But like it's fine. I'm not actually complaining, because that is, you know, it is better and cheaper, and like there's really not any reason not to nowadays. But I didn't love it. Now, she doesn't appear to have any kind of badge on her cap, which is fine. Oh. That's why I just wing it. Yeah. Yeah, look up the, it's spelled weird, but it's like Khymeria. Chimera. Here, I've got the box right here, actually. There we go. Look at those guys. Those are some cool weirdos, man. That is, I saw that box and I was like, ooh, yeah. And then I looked up their lore and they weren't terrible dickheads, so I was like, yeah, okay. So yeah, she doesn't seem to have a badge in her cap, which is fine. Means no gold. We're almost ready for that wash. Just gotta touch up the last bits of the skin and such. Or the places where the skin went over, rather, like right here. Okay. Any other spots I missed? That's a spot on her base. I don't care about that. Probably shouldn't have to worry about this, but I'm gonna worry about it. So, bloop, bloop. All right. That box is out of focus, sir. Well, you know what? Was it? I thought it looked okay on mine. Oh, no, it's not in focus. Okay, never mind. I don't think I can get it to focus without drastically messing up my camera settings. I mean, I guess I could put it down here. Would that work? Ah, whatever. You guys can Google it. They got tactical rocks for days. They do. Every single model in that box, except one, has a tactical rock, and I don't love it. Okay. Let's do a quick zoom around the model. There's one last thing I gotta get, which is her hair. This ochre covers very well. It does not cover so well that it covers up this dark blue in one coat, so... Alright, so we're going to let her definitely dry, because if we don't, we'll have a very bad time. Alright, so while I'm waiting for her to dry, what else do I want to paint? If I say one of these things, I already know someone's going to say that. Hey, don't razz me, alright? I'm new to this. I don't want to build something because that would require me to kind of like change my whole setup and get it and put away the paints because I don't have room. So I'm not going to switch to building because I could build like my other Chimera, but I'm not going to. Do I have my Quar out? I kind of have my Quar out. Not really though. They're kind of stashed away right now. Infinity? Mitchell, I haven't even built Infinity yet. Let alone painted it. I have another wizard here. Look at that little guy. I got another wizard here. This is just another Reaper wizard. Let's see, where's my painting handle? I need a blue tack painting handle. There we go. Yeah. This guy has been sitting on my desk for so long that he's dusty, so let's get some water on him, and he's primed, I think. Yeah, he's primed. This is a Reaper miniature. Oh boy. All right. So what color should he be? Let me see. So we've done green. We've done blue. You know, my heart kind of says I want to do red for him. But does the wizard have a gun stave? Yes. For those who don't know what Mitchell's referencing, what's the wizard called? It's called Bone Witch. No, that wasn't the wizard called. Well, the game was called Bone Witch, and it's about wizards, but the wizards have guns and knives. And your two moves are shoot him in the face and shank him in the kidney. Yeah, I was thinking yellow, although I gotta build up to that, which would probably be, well, I mean, we could do the Goobertown patented yellow technique, which is you actually start with pink and then build up and you put the yellow over the pink. Even then, you probably still wouldn't put, because this is black, right, primer, you wouldn't put pink over the black primer. You'd probably do brown or a dark red. Ooh, I know. How about this? This is Blanched Berry. And it's not talking about the Golden Girl. No, I bet this would look great. I mean, I would revolt against the idea of painting yellow, but I do need the practice. So let's put some Blanched Berry down. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. I think he's got, that's some Cherry Cola color. Oh, you know what? I didn't connect to that. You were right. That is a Cherry Cola color. Look at that. Crap. Oh, maybe I should just paint him Cherry Cola. It would be on brand. So I think this guy does have a different color cape than robe. Yeah, he does. He's got the thing where his cape is different than his robe. Although this being a Reaper miniature, it's kind of impossible to tell because they didn't really delineate in the sculpt. Because this is not a new Reaper miniature. This is an old Reaper miniature. This is from a Bones Kickstarter back when I was still backing Bones Kickstarters. Because I thought I was gonna play a whole bunch of RPGs and I needed. Look, I just backed Kickstarters for no dang reason. Speaking of which, I got in the mail the other day a Kickstarter that I had backed in 2024 for Armello, the board game. Now I do love Armello, the video game. It's a board game in video game form, and then they turned it into an actual board game. I don't know why I backed it though. So now I have that to worry about. Mitchell says, I found my extra Rogel Dorn bits in my cleaning, and I'm magnetizing them now. Cool. Duke Moosey says, more Psychers for the Golden Throne. Yes. That's my Chinch Pilgrim color. The Pilgrims of Blanchberry Farms. Yes. Are they still bonesing? The wizards? The bone witches? Alright. So, I gotta make a decision. Do I want to paint him Blanchberry or do I want to play him... Wait, hold on. Question for you guys. Would this yellow and this Blanchberry go together on the same mini? Is that too weird? Because yellow and purple are complementary, right? Or are they contrasting? I can't remember. Anyway, yellow and purple go together, but this isn't quite purple. It's more of a red. I guess technically it's a desaturated violet, according to the Army Banner. Really quickly while he dries, I'm gonna get that on there. Because, No, that's giving football team. Oh, yeah. Well, that's going to be the problem with anything yellow. That bright yellow is always going to scream sports team more than wizard. I don't know how you fix that with yellow. The Washington one. Oh, the Washington no longer called the kind of a racial slur? Or are they still called that? I don't know. I don't keep up. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't really keep up with football. I should not think of the Saints, the New Orleans Saints. Aren't they yellow and purple? There we go. Look at that nice blanched berry. Oh geez, I'm kind of backing out of the idea of going full yellow. Never go full yellow. Because I don't know how to paint him in a yellow that isn't going to scream traffic cone. Oh, Washington, D.C. Oh, you lost me. Now, if I do red, he's going to look like a priest. He's priest. Have a little priest. Isn't he good? Well, it's too good at least. Then again, they don't commit sins of the flesh, so it's pretty fresh. And you got poet or something like that. I could sing the entirety of Sweeney Todd. It's probably my favorite musical. Yeah, purple and yellow would scream football team. What would go with yellow that wouldn't scream? So if you want to keep him cola, add in some purpley purples. Yeah, could do that. I don't think I want to keep him Blancheberry. I don't want to do that. I like Blancheberry, but I used it a lot for a different project. That I didn't finish, but I still used a lot, so I'm kind of over Blancheberry robes. Oh, no, yeah. Don't worry, Fiverr, I was singing it in my head, but I skipped over it. Mrs. Lovett, what a charming notion. Eminently practical as always, Mrs. Lovett. How I live without you all these years, I never know. How delectable. Also undetectable. Think of all those pies. All right. Okay. I've lost my train of thought. I'm not painting him yellow. I decided I am not painting him yellow because he will look like... Although I could paint him yellow and then put black and make him the bee wizard. He does have a dragon on him. I don't know if you can see that. He has a little familiar. So I kind of want to take advantage of that. I know. I'm going to paint him red. I'm going to paint him a good red because, first off, chance to use this red. But what goes with red? Black. If I was wearing a red robe, what color would my cloak be? Blue? Could do red and blue. No. Do I want to go for the P3 red? It's a very bright red to use, the Khador red. Red and blue would kind of look like a America wizard, which I'm really not in the mood to paint America colors. All right, you decided. I know what color it's going to be. If I can find the color that I just... Yeah, Duke Musi. Cody picked up some of those paints. I don't know if he's used them yet. I have not. I got a chance to use some of them. I didn't really have a solid opinion on them at the convention. But yes, I am excited. I don't use a lot of Reaper paints right now because I don't really like how transparent they are. But I hope the best for them. I hope they get a great Kickstarter going, and I hope their paints are really nice, because more nice paints is good for everybody. Everybody kind of wins in that case, right? Yeah, Christmas Wizard is the thing I want to avoid, Mitchell, with the red and the green. Plus, we got this guy for green. Oh, I've lost my train of thought completely. I haven't yet, yeah. We'll paint this guy red. Okay. Let's just do a nice bright red robe. Oh, he will look like Santa, though. I missed How are the P3 Brains. I like them. So I don't like all of them. I don't love the skin color. It's very kind of hard to use compared to the... But this blue is P3. And I like that. That red is P3. I think I actually know what color I'm going to paint that wizard. It's going to be something a little weird. Bear with me. But first, I think she is ready. So, we're going to wash her. Yeah, I have my washi tablet here. I like these things because you pop them out and you can clean them. Sonic Tonic. So, if you don't know what Sonic Tonic is, Sonic Tonic is equal parts Reichland Flesh Shade or Army Painter Flesh Tone Wash, a Sepia or Agrax, some kind of dark tone wash, and then a buttload of medium. So if you're using Army Painter, it's warm skin tone, strong tone, and then medium. If you're using Games Workshop, it's Reichland Flesh Shade, Agrax, or Sepia, and Lamy medium. The point is that it's a dark earth shade mixed with equal parts flesh shade, some kind of warmth, and then a buttload of medium. What it does is it kind of shades almost any light color while imparting some warmth to it. Sonic, he says, the Hedgehog? No, I did not have to juice a really hot Sonic. Well, I was not going to make that joke. No, I call it Sonic Tonic because it was not invented, but popularized and reinvented by one Sonic Sledgehammer, a YouTuber that I'm a big fan of. He doesn't know me personally or anything like that. I've never met him, but I really like his content. The original recipe was called Marine Juice, and it was something that the Forge World army painting team came up with to really quickly power through shading everything. But that was years and years and years ago, and what Sonic Sledgehammer did was kind of modernize the recipe and come up with different ways to do it. So he didn't invent it, but he calls it Marine Juice. I call it Sonic Tonic. Because he doesn't want it because people got mad at him when they're like, you're taking credit for something you didn't invent. And he's like, I didn't invent it, I just, codified it. But yeah, it was called Marine Juice because it was for painting loads and loads of Marines. The problem is I don't call it Marine Juice because I've never used it on a Marine. Ever. Plus you gotta juice Marines, and that's really hard. Although it's easier to juice a Marine than it is to milk a Marine. But anyway, it's a light Omni Wash. I love it. It's good for basically everything that isn't a absurdly dark color. Where the hell did my wash brush go? There you are. And you'll see on here. So yes, shout out to Marine Juice or Sonic Tonic. Plus Sonic Tonic rhymes. So what we'll do on here, and you really gotta, the thing about it is the important part is it's earth color plus flesh color plus absolute crap ton of medium. And the absolute crap ton of medium is really important. I need to do a video on this, but through the works of Sonic Sledgehammer and others, I have kind of come around on the idea that everyone knows you should thin your paints, but not everyone knows you should also thin your washes with medium. They will behave better and differently. So you want to keep this. I got him quoting Sonic Sledgehammer in his videos now. You gotta keep this moving around. I can't do his accent. He's Kiwi. He's from New Zealand. Keep this moving around. Don't let it pool in any one spot. But what this does is it shades everything. And to be clear, is this as good as going in and manually shading? No. No, it's not. That would be better, and it would look better. But this takes me about 10 seconds, and that would take me hours and hours and hours. So it is an army painting technique, not a Golden Demon technique. But if you're asking for Golden Demon, don't ask me. Ask Fiverr, because Fiverr won Golden Demon one year, as we all know, with the Ice Cream Night. I have to say, before they get mad at me, that was a joke. They didn't actually win, but everybody loved it. So it's not going to do a lot, like, for example, on the skirt down here. It's really not going to do much, and we're going to have to go over that skirt again, probably. Because I guarantee you it's not going to do much at all down here. Because it's a wide, flat surface. But, okay, we got that. And now we're going to have to let her dry. That's going to take a while. Yeah, I guess we shouldn't joke that Fiverr won Golden Demon, because there are people who actually won Golden Demon, and we shouldn't undersell their accomplishments. However, People's Choice Award. Sorry, you didn't win a Golden Demon. You won Adepticon. People's Choice Award. In my opinion, you won the soda award, 2020, whatever the hell it was. All right. Okay, so now that, well, of course, it is a shade, so that will take a while to dry. I think we're ready to revisit him. Although, we're going to paint everything on him except the top of the staff, because I don't want to worry about that right now. So, let's get back onto his skin. We want him to be pale, right? We want him to be, like, gross pale. So I've got tourmaline skin, I've got fair skin. I think fair skin's paler. Tailor? Something paler. Potter? Something hotter. Locksmith? Ba-dum-bum. Yeah, sorry, again, Sweeney Todd. I can't be stopped. The Sweeney Todd train has no brakes when Soda is driving. I didn't even enter this year, so I get it worked back to that for 2027. Yeah, I mean, well, they got to release a new night for you. And which they will. It's the Destrier, right? Which I think we have a video going up on very soon. Clear my palette. All right, let's get this fair skin. Although I could go for the equivalent of pallid witch flesh, which is very pallid. I mean, this guy's still human, in theory. So let's go for fair skin. Okay, wait, I'm not doing it this time. See, it's clogged. I'm gonna go over and get my safety pin. There's technically been two Imperial Knights. What was the other one? I legitimately don't remember, which probably says a lot about me. Okay, I'm getting my safety pin, and we're poking in there so it doesn't... There we go. Okay. Yeah, there we go. So this time it won't explode all over my palette. Needs more known oil and maybe a couple extra stub guns. Look, Slurry Dude. We'll get there. Now I'm picturing a Necromunda gang made up of, like, airline stewardesses. Did you have a nice fight? You mean flight? No! Bang! Ooh, yeah, that's a pale skin tone if I've ever seen one. This is a man who does not get enough sunlight. AKA me. Ow! I touched the staff and it bent. I have to come back to this guy. Oof, yeah, look at that glue. I'm gonna need to... Yeah, we're gonna have to revisit you later. Wait for that to fully dry. Let's not tempt fate. You, on the other hand... Although I do have, like, let's do popular vote. I got Wizard Man here. I could paint him. I do also have Russell Rumble. I have turnips. I got turnip guys to paint for Turnip 28. They're not actual turnips. If you don't know what Turnip 28 is, don't worry, you will. Got the Kill Team Church Youth Group. Sorry, I've done a couple Pal Knight gangs now, therefore everyone gets a stub gun. Well, not anymore! Okay. I realized I wasn't talking. It could take away that Manticore rule, but never take my Obligatory Stun Gun. That's fair. So, we're going to let her dry. Although, if you look, she's already kind of looking pretty cool. And we're going to let your glue dry, sir. I might have to pin him later. That's going to be a pain in the butt. But let's, since everybody's talking Necromunda, this is kind of we're not a Necromunda channel, but we do a lot of Necromunda. That's certainly what we're known for. Let's paint some scum. Hive Scum, equipped with my two favorite things to give Hive Scum. We've got Autogun and Lasgun here. Hive Scum with Lasgun are probably the bread and butter of my gangs, honestly, because they always end up. You can see I did the smart thing and base coated this guy's skin first. So, every enforcer is given a badge and a gun. They have to bring their own handcuffs from home. Yeah, and that was really awkward. One guy brought the pink fuzzy handcuffs. All right. Ooh, what now? So, now the nice thing about Hive Scum is you can go completely nuts with these guys. So, we're going to paint this guy in yellow. But it's not going to end... I mean, it's going to start yellow. It's not going to be his only color. We're going to try this P3 yellow. His tunic will be yellow. So let's start with this P3 yellow. Let's try this out and see how this is. Okay, because often a paint you can judge by its yellow colors, right? I only got half an hour before I need to call it a day. Which I mean, I don't have to, but I'm on vacation. Oh gosh. Okay. First off, we're not starting with that yellow. I don't know why I thought that would be a good idea. Just because I Zenithalled him. This is absolutely a Necromunda channel. Hey! Look, we like Necromunda, and we have no intentions of discontinuing to play Necromunda. Don't get me wrong. However, we like lots of other things too, and we want to be able to talk about them. And sometimes the algorithm is like, nah. But where's that Necromunda, fam? And we're like, but we like Trench Crusade, too. And they're like, yeah, what about the Necromunda? And we're like, but what about normal 40k? And they go, yeah, 40k, Necromunda. And I'm like, ugh. The woes of, you know, you get put into your niche, right? So, this guy we are going to undercoat pink, and then we're going to put the yellow on over the pink. Now, the thing about these guys is, and their armor, and this is always a source of frustration to me, because this Genestealer Cult style armor doesn't look good in many colors, in my opinion. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to paint him. He's going to end up looking like a bee, which is fun. There's a rite of passage to try and arrest an Escher with the pink and fuzzies. If you live through the poison, you're a legend. No one lives with the poison. Trench Crusade looks good too, but I only have so much money in no 3D printer. Yeah, I mean, and, like, you know, for us, this is, like, our primary hobby, so, yeah, we have, like, Necromunda and Trench Crusade. The 3D printer issue is being alleviated as they release more resin and plastic sets. However, that does not fix the money problem, because you gotta buy the guys. Yeah, and the plastic kits are not unreasonably priced, but, you know, if you're already buying Necromunda plastic kits, you know, it doesn't matter if they're reasonably priced or not. It's, you know. Anyway, what we're going to do with this guy is we're going to paint him with yellow cloth, and his armor will be black, that kind of blackish rubber. So we're actually going to go back to Ironclad Gray, because this is a fantastic rubber color. Although the best one is a paint I can't find anymore, which is it was like called rubber from like Secret Weapon Miniatures, and it was like this black with just this weird blue in it, which is what rubber looks like. But I can't. I don't know anybody who makes anything like that anymore. So we're gonna get that nice, and we're just putting down some sloppy base coats right now. Not worrying too much if we cover over things. I think this brush needs cleaning because it's starting to do the thing where it like, whoop. Oh no, I guess I get back. Okay. So that is a nice thing about painting Hive Scum is you can just kind of paint them whatever you want, and they don't need to be. They don't need to have a uniform. They don't have to look like each other. They don't have to be consistent within themselves because like they are the scum of the scum. So like yeah, he threw on whatever he could find. He didn't shop at the fashion store like Escher does, right? He just like, okay, well, I found this black armor and this yellow pants so I don't get arrested for public indecency while I'm committing crimes. You know, with the way law works on Necromundas, I wonder if anybody wears pants at all. It's like, what are they going to do, arrest you? They're going to do that anyway. Get some grays down there. Now, to start, this looks like the most boring color scheme in the world, because it's like, wow, you put on a dark blanche. You can always paint anything however you want. That's a secret. Yes, that is true. But what I mean in this case are they don't have to look good at all, because they are the scum of the scum. So, let me see. If his tunic's going to be, okay, black top, yellow tunic, probably just go with a neutral color gray pants. So we're actually going to put this gray down over the pants too. And then we'll do black boots. Well, we're going to end up actually doing a lighter neutral gray on the pants, but that'll be later. Looks like at one point I painted his shoes brown for some reason. I think I had a different plan for this guy way back when. He's kind of wearing gaiters over his shoes. So, you know what? Screw it. Let's put brown on his shoes. Because, again... and that's why my Escher are the Doki Doki Chemical Club. I never interacted with Doki Doki Literature's Club, so I only know of it through, like, extended, you know, third-party references. So this guy's kind of weird. He's kind of wearing these gaiters, like, in addition to his boots. So to make them stand out, because otherwise they would just be the same, we'll paint the boots brown, and then the gaiters will be a different color. Which might actually be a mistake, because it might actually look up really silly. But I don't care, because it's Hive Scum. Like, he's wearing what he could find. And what he could find is not necessarily... Alright. Let's do, now that we've got the blanched berry down, let's do Wicked Pink. Uh-oh, it's clogged again. Again, we're not going to do the stupid thing and just squeeze. We're going to poke. There we go. Poke and wipe. And then squeeze. There we go. I was about to say this Wicked Pink is probably from Boston, where it's a Wicked Pink. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Goobertown Hobbies did a video a long time ago. I think it's actually one of the things that got them kind of famous in the beginning, where they like do better yellows by putting an undercoat pink. They didn't come up with that idea, but they were the ones who made a video explaining it, and you know how that goes. So, and it's a good video. That sounds like I'm disparaging him. I'm not. But it works. Just due to the way that pink and yellow interact. Pink can make a nice basis for a very strong primary yellow. So to start with, this guy's going to look like he is. But because we're only doing this as an undercoat, I don't have to be particularly like nice with it. So what is a good Hive Scum anyway? You usually get the credits to use. For 60 credits, you get a las gun. For what? 25 credits, I think, as a las gun, or is it 15? I can't remember. Yeah, you gotta look. There's the kid. Wicked Pink, dude. It's a wicked pissa. Yeah. Anyway, Hive Scum. Las gun, Under Armour suit gets you, because I can't remember. Our las gun's 25 or 15 credits. I'm not remembering right now. But anyway, Under Armor plus Lasgun, I think Lasguns are 15. Yeah, Under Armor plus Lasgun is equals 40 credits, and because Under Armor suit is 25, Lasgun's 15, that's 40, and then the other, I think you either get 50 or 60 credits. You can put on a melee weapon. Like a flail is great because the flail has the +1 to hit, so they hit a little better than they actually should. So yeah, I love the Lasgun because the Lasgun is so generous with its extended range, 18-inch. Oh yeah, mail, right? Duh. Yeah, so armored undersuit is 25 credits. Mailed chainmail is what, 15 or 10 or something like that. You give them the armor, you give them the armored undersuit, and then you give them a lasgun. I like the lasgun because it's got 18-inch range for short range with +1, which means they're going to be hitting at 3s on an open target or 4s on a partially enclosed target. Basically giving them a good lasgun. Like, yes, the lasgun does not have the damage potential of the autogun because the autogun has rapid fire. However, you're not looking to kill things with Hive Scum. You're looking to get in the way and cause pins. And lasguns are fantastic for that in a way that autoguns necessarily aren't. So for this guy, well, I've already decided to get this guy dark skin, apparently. This must have been done ages ago. So what would contrast nicely or go along nicely with his dark skin? I want something nice and desaturated, so I'm actually going to turn to my historical set over here because this is full of weird and desaturated things. Let's go with a... No, that would actually... I was going to say dark battle dress, but that won't work. That will blend with his skin, which is the opposite of what I want. So I don't want any browns, because those will blend with his skin. We're already doing yellow on one guy, so let's do something classic. Let's do a drab. It's crazy how the Hive Scum from Darktide was so popularly made a model for it. No, he's being silly. He's yeah. The Hive Scum from Darktide is based on Necromunda, not the other way around. We're gonna do this dark drab on his main clothing, which is, oh yeah, look at how drab that is. That is a delightfully boring color, which is fine. It's kind of what Hive Scum are supposed to look like, in my opinion. Because even the yellow, by the time I'm done with it, will not be a bright yellow. It will be a desaturated, washed out yellow. Because yeah, he probably had nice yellow clothes at some point, but he, you know, they get ruined and grimy and dirty and. Oh, is that Cody on yet another account? How many of these do you have? Yes, it is an incredibly bland color, which is fine, because what we're doing is this is the bland color, so that means we have an opportunity to make something else on him a pop color. I mean, it's historical drab. It's from the Army Painter historical set. What do you want? So what I'm going to do is this tabard here is going to be a pop color. That is the color of a hotel couch. Yeah, this is the color of a 70s living room, is what this is. But that means that this tabard is going to be his pop color. Same thing on this guy. Like, his cloth is going to be his pop color. So we've got one part of him. I guess you could call this Blanchian, right? Like, where he does mostly drab colors, but with like one thing is like that bright red. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do green, and then that will be a pop color. I don't know what yet. It won't be red. Hive Scum are not known for their extensive STC laundry setups. Weirdly, yeah, but weirdly Escher is. They've got the STCs on that. So we're going to do another layer of pink on this guy. Actually, are we? Are you dry yet? Yeah, you're dry. Okay. So, Fiverr comes from the land of everything is painted in bright pastels. But in Necromunda, I like to do one, like, I like my guys to be mostly drab and grim with, like, one thing that's really sticking out. That's a me thing, though. There's nothing that says you can't do lots of pastels. And some gangs, like, for example, Escher, they don't work like that. It's probably why I haven't finished my Escher yet. Because Escher can be, Called an old green and purple Taco Band. Yeah, the Taco Bell color was more of a, kind of that. Oh, that's a Baja Blast right there. So Baja, this blast. Now, it doesn't help that because these guys are Zenithal primed, as in I primed them black and then dry brushed the white on them, everything looks washed out on them anyway. Because that's a very desaturating color process, right? Oh yeah, look at that drab. Look at that military green. I like the leopard print Eschers from that mid PC game they did. That game was mid, but I liked it, but like I wanted to like it more than I did. Mitchell says, the Night Defender came out. Oh, right. That's okay, Mitchell. You are like the one least obligated to be here, even less so than anyone else because like you work here. Not even supposed to be here that day. We're gonna wait for that to dry. I had a plan for you, and now I've forgotten the plan. Oh, right, I was gonna paint him in teal. Like this nice scarab green. Which, I don't think this is gonna come across as a teal right away. Oh, yeah, it does. Okay. There we go. I like a teal wizard. And supporting your decision stream. That's fair. Oh, I mean, I appreciate you being here, Mitchell. You, I do enjoy spending time with you. We need to hang out again and just, like, this is going to sound so messed up, but we need to hang out again and just drink, because it's like the only time I actually drink things and have fun drinking things is when I'm hanging out with people. You know what we should do, Mitchell, and Cody, and Fiverr if you want to drive about 6 hours? We should hang out here, and I should grill out. This is when it's warmer. We should hang out here, and we should grill out, and like just sit at this lake here that I'm at, and just hang out, and eat food and drink things. Fiverr, you're invited, but you have to get your own ride. If he works, those are he can never leave. Those are retail rules. Yeah, wait until Mitchell's wife gets back in the chat and tell her that, and I'm not responsible for what she does to you. If he works, then they can never leave. Yeah, isn't that Defender kit like a new loadout option, not a fully new kit? I'm going to defer that to Mitchell. It was a clone of the Mordheim game. Oh, you're thinking the you're thinking that I was thinking Hired Gun, the first-person shooter, which was good, but janky. You're thinking the one that was the actual one that was more like playing Necromunda. I did not click with that one at all. I played like 30 minutes of it and was like, I would rather paint Necromunda minis. I like this Scarab Green. That will not be his final color, though. That is a good starting point, not a good ending point. That is definitely, I mean, that's the darkest of the teal here, right? All right, back to you. Let's get some yellow. So, here's something I've never been good at. I want to paint a yellow, and I want it to end up looking grimy and desaturated. Which means you can't paint Moonbeam yellow, right? Like, you probably want to paint something that's more like Demonic Yellow, where it's already kind of desaturated. Or maybe, not Life Vest Yellow. Ooh, what about... See, that's almost more of a khaki, but I think that's what I'm actually going for, something like that. Well, let's try it. I know what I'm highlighting with, which is this, ice yellow. If you've never seen Vince Venturella's video on universal highlight with yellow, ice yellow, you should watch that video. Even if you don't end up doing it, which I don't a lot, his explanation of what universal highlights are and how they work was eye-opening about how colors work. That video is astoundingly good. I like a lot of Vince Venturella videos, but that one might be my favorite. Oh boy, wow, this is not a... That is not a... Okay, I need another step in between, because that is a... First off, that's too desaturated. Moonbeam yellow over a brown. Maybe, I think Moonbeam's a little too yellow. Although this is too desaturated. We're going to try Demonic as soon as that dries. Which we're going to help a little bit by moving around. Hired Gun was a 7 to 8 because it played like Doom. Underhive was 6, but also okay. The cutscenes were pretty decent, but man, the AI was dumb. I'm going to say that I don't think AI Underhive was quite a 7. I'm going to say it was a 6. 5 or a 6. Because it was just a little too jank, and it got very repetitive towards the end. I do also have, if I want to slap color on something random, I have this. This is Doctor Strange Bun. How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Hop on the Bomb. This is from Bad Squiddo Miniatures. It's a bunny on a bomb. I don't think I can explain this any better than just showing you the fact that this is a bunny on a bomb. So, you know. I've seen Eons of Battle J. If you don't know Eons of Battle, you should check out their channel. We don't know them personally, except talking to them, but they are a cool channel. Use it as a tone for highlighting and even to mix and make a highlight. Yes, Vince's video was about using this and skin tones. You use this for highlighting things cool, and you use skin tones for highlighting things warm. This is your universal highlight, and then your universal shadow is this delicious thing here called Payne's Gray. These two you could mix with anything to make any highlight ever if you're good at mixing, and he is amazing at it. Slurry Dude says, I want one. It's from Bad Squiddo. Bad Squiddo Games, who are... Their shtick is mostly making... they make lots of minis of women historical figures that are not pin-uppy, because it's a woman-owned operation. They're really cool, but they also make a lot of delightful bunnies with guns and in tanks, and guinea pigs in tanks and guns and stuff like that. Alright, so this guy. Armor. Because he's got this leather padded armor. I want it to be brown, but I don't want it to be so brown that it blends with his skin tone. So how am I going to do that? That's a great question. Well, let's get out browns and see what we can do. Got this here. It's a camo brown. Ooh, I bet. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, that's a very red brown. Red brown is in the color, not the actor. Red Brown, who is the actor who was in Mystery Science Theater 3000's Space Mutiny. I mean, the movie's just Space Mutiny, but that's a seminal Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode. One of my favorites, one of many people's favorites. And if you're not familiar with Mystery Science Theater, I suggest you check it out. You want to know why I am the way I am. They watch bad movies and riff on them. But it's more than that. I mean, it's not, but it is. So yeah, so that is, especially once we wash it down. Oh, I just noticed. So his tunic here that he's wearing goes up under here, and that means that his sleeves should probably be a different color. But this is a great example of where just because you can paint something a bunch of different colors doesn't mean you necessarily should. And I'm not going to. Because I don't think that will add to the mini for his sleeves to be a different color. So, this armor might be a little too bright. That might be a little too bright of a brown. Because it doesn't look brown, it looks, orange. Even when it dries down, that looks a little orange. So yeah, this guy's wearing like a tunic vest, and then his sleeves would be a different color. If you're doing that, so the way to do that is use a lighter version of a different same color. So rather, well, let's play with it. Let's play with it. Let's see what happens. First off, let's get his collar is clearly part of the same outfit as his sleeves. I'm going to paint right over the leather I just painted because I'm not happy with it. So, and like, I could make this guy not African American skin colored if I want to. Like, he doesn't need to be black. I just like, I have a fun thing where I try not to paint any two people in the same squad with the exact same skin color. And by exact same skin color, I don't mean like, okay, not everyone can be, you know, only one Caucasian guy and one black guy. What I mean is like, because no two human beings have the same skin color at all, ever. Everyone is very slightly different. And so, like, there's 48 billion different Caucasian skin tones in the Army Painter skin collection, so I like to use a different one on each guy. Because I feel like it just makes it feel a little more real. You know? Because that's how actual people are. Now, granted, you're talking about Warhammer 40,000, which is, like, yeah, I'm putting a lot of effort into painting different skin colors on all the real people so they can go fight orcs who are all green. But I will say, I also love it when orc players paint their orcs a bunch of different greens. Not, like, wildly different, but I love looking at an orc army, and I'm pretty sure Cody's done this. I love looking at an orc army that is not just the same green skin, it's a bunch of different greens to kind of have some diversity of color in there, because I think it actually looks cooler than just one green skin tone. All my skin colors are the exact same color. I mean, when I say I try to do this, Mitchell, it doesn't mean I do it successfully. And it's just a personal thing. I don't think that's like a moral goal to have. You paint your guys how you want to paint your guys. The hell I do that with my orcs usually. Yeah, exactly what I was... Yeah. Cody typed that. And because of the stream delay, before I was saying the next thing. And yeah, Cody's orcs, I think, are a great inspiration for that. So what I'm doing here is I'm painting... His sleeves are a different color because it is a different part of a different color of the suit. But it's just a different green, right? It's not a wildly different color that's going to detract from what you see. This is light drab from the Army Painter Historical. Again, as Fiverr would say, an intensely boring color. Although this one is less intensely boring, this one is 70s kitchen. This green, God, I have seen in so many appliances from the 70s and early 80s. So if you lived in the Midwest, which we do, everything's about 10 years behind. So, you know, our 90s looked like the 80s as far as, like, colors and fashion trends. Another Eon's Battle J thing. Whenever he paints a new orc, he grabs 2 greens at randoms. And those are his colors on that guy. Oh, I didn't realize I was channeling Eons of Battle. Not a bad idea, considering he's pretty good at what he does. Yeah, I said I was going to stop at 10, but it's 10, and I'm just going to keep going, because I'm not tired yet. So, again, nobody feel like you need to stay. I'm just going to keep painting until I fall over, probably. I know technically it's a good thing to, like, have your stream stop and start at a specific time, but I'm on vacation, so I'm going to do what I want. I do, however, need to plug this iPad in if I'm going to keep going, because it's at 17%. And this is the only way I can watch comments. Yeah. There we go. So yeah, this is a very green man. Now, I don't know what color I want to do the tabard. The little thing here. Because if I do it red, it's gonna look like Christmas. Although, actually, it might not. So yeah, so he's got the green, and then he's got a lighter green sleeve color. Could actually, I wonder. I did that with my 20 Ludas, yeah. I wonder if we could get away with making his pants the same light green. Because then it'd be like he's wearing an undershirt or like an undersuit. I just realized the colors I'm picking look for this guy look very wood elf. Which will, I believe, immediately trigger Mitchell's gag reflex. Stream froze. Uh-oh. Can you still hear me? Uh-oh. What is going on here? One sec. Okay, so that's still working. Why did the stream freeze? Okay, so it looks like it's on OBS's end. Alright, how about now? Is it going now? No, it's not. Why are you stuck on a single frame, sir? I'm gonna reboot OBS real quick. Oh, hold on. I think we're back. Yeah, seems like we're back. Maybe?